got next?
Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays. Feliz Navidad. All the good stuff. What is going on, everybody? This your boy Shadow Ace. Of course, if you're familiar with this podcast series, you're no stranger to the danger. You're used to this pretty this good old fashioned talk podcast that we got going down. For your holiday season. And if you don't know, now you know. And if you're new, welcome. Glad to be here. Of course, man. This is just a sort of a filler arc for our usual series that we host here, episode 1.5, that in between before we get to that episode 2. This is welcome to the season 2 of the Street Fighter I Got Next podcast. It's your boy Shadow Ace on the mics. We joined in, of course, by my the production, the man behind behind the wheels, that makes this thing go into motion, man. And it's my partner, man. I can't do it without him, man. Very very strong asset to this the success of this series for sure. And I mean, we're just gonna keep it moving. I mean, this has been what, a year, a full year. I think the anniversary date is in our
January.
first podcast was January, right?
Yep. Yeah. We almost there though,
January.
but
We
still.
are almost there.
I mean, we already
You know.
started a full season. We already done the full season. We already had our first episode for season two. We got, you heard the new intro. You guys haven't heard yet. We have new guests. That's not in Georgia. I said, man, a whole lot has changed underneath a year for sure. Less than a year, but still, yeah.
It's been a year, man. It feels pretty. People always say that. You get to the end of the year and it's like, dang, time moved by so fast. That's just regular time, man. We're already, December 2022, getting ready to get into this 2023. The road to Street Fighter 6 is
Mm-hmm.
officially begun. We a lot of hype, a lot of buzz going around about the game, man, and it's a lot to talk about. It's definitely
Mm.
going to be a lot to talk about. But before we get here, let me do a little quick introduction. It's Shadow Ace. I'm a player, commentator,
Mm-hmm.
podcaster. TL. A man of many hats here. In the Atlanta, Georgia scene for Street Fighter, for sure. I've been playing competitively fighting games for over about 10 years. But most of my ventures have always been within the South region. You may have seen me at an event here or there, and just try to just play some games, man, meet some people, and just have some fun, man. Hopefully, in 2023, my ventures would take me up north. I'd like to see about traveling either up north or even to a West Coast event, just for the exposure and to see how the climate is out there. Why should the South only see my hands? I think other parts of the U.S. should experience this ed work too as well. But yeah, man, it's all good. Holiday season is upon us. Of course, depending on where you are, it may be snowing or it may be warm. It definitely is. It's warm today. It's about in the 60s. For us, we had some snow a few days ago, that kind of like shut things down. You saw cars trying to go up hills, and you saw them slide back a little bit, so you got kind of worried. So so yeah, the weather's kind of on and off here, so we might get more snow within January. But yeah, Sir Retro, how you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Like I said, definitely holidays been somewhat busy, somewhat relaxing. Of course, for those who do not know, welcome. I'm Sir Retro, Middle Georgia FGC tournament organizer. Been around the field for more than 5 years. I'm keep losing count on how many times I've been around involved with the community, but definitely I also play fighting game enthusiast, fighting game FGC trainer for intermediate novice, fundamentals of fighting games. Definitely also a podcaster as well. Been working on the production side as Shao has mentioned, and just making my mark in the community overall. Definitely um, seen some milestones that has happened this year, which definitely we'll talking to. What's going on, Iron Phoenix? How's it going? It's good to see you in the building. And yeah, of course, like I said, been doing this with Shadows for a minute. Can't believe it's
A
been
year, yeah. It's been
yeah,
a year. That's just wild.
because it been I feel like it's been more than that in the sense where like well no
Mm.
no even though less than that. Because the thing is, I remember I now sitting and thinking about it. It's technically been more in the year in the sense where you start brought this idea to me, and I was like, you know what? Why not? That'd be a fun thing. We'll see how it goes. It's like a fun project, and now, you know,
Look at this. Flash forward to the now.
I'm sure you saw that Paul Rudd or Hot Ones, like that meme. Look at us, look at us.
Who'da thought, right?
Right, right. But that said, definitely, I'm excited. Being part of FGC meaning a lot to me. To this very day, I have done. I feel like I have done a lot for it, and I will continue to do a lot for it. To maybe I turn 60, 70, 80, whenever. Even at a nursing home, I'll still be doing a lot for the FGC. That's something much involved I would like to be a part of it. And I also think, shout out Ace for the opportunity to do a podcast to spread the story to you guys about, the Georgia scene and beyond now.
You said nursing home. That's actually one of the that's actually something a question that we gonna talk about a bit later on because I
Oh
like
Lord.
that. Yeah, we're gonna circle right back down to that
Oh
because this is gonna be an interesting topic, for sure. But yeah, look at that. You put things in the atmosphere and they come back like that. I was like, I wonder if we can talk about this. But
hmm
yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
no, you good, man. Like I said, oh, hey, don't forget about you though. As a current in the last KI Teach Ultra Street Fighter 4 champion.
Oh man, if we gonna go through a recap real quick, I think we should go through a recap because 2022, man, has just been an amazing year, man.
Yeah.
It's getting being the last Ultra Street Fighter 4 KIT champ. It was just surreal, man. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, nah, this ain't real, man. This trophy ain't mine, man. Stop
Man.
playing with me. And it didn't hit me until like after the event.
hmm
And I got kind of like a little bit emotional because again,
Yeah.
I've been competing for over 10 years. So that's a long time to be pressing buttons and playing Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I was able to bring home the trophy on the very last event of the KIT. Well, I'm gonna say air quotes on the last
Mm-hmm.
KIT, Kumatea, Tennessee. If those who might be asking what are you guys talking about, but yeah, Kumatea, Tennessee, of course, went down, and in Tennessee. But that particular event, it was just an amazing event. Production was great. It was actually in collaboration with they had like a pinball convention too as well.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
So it was a really great experience out there, man. And being able to go out there and just so what I can do with my forte was just it was great, man. I was very humble, very excited to just play, and I was just originally going up with the idea to just supporting and going to the last KIT. Lord behold, here I am in grand finals against Omega Tom Hanks's Bison,
Mm.
playing in front of so many people, and
Yeah.
I getting the W there. So I mean, very strong, competent Bison player. My opponent I was going up against, man, Mega Tom Hanks. He's one of the older players too as well. So we
Okay.
you had two old guys up there just playing some good old fashioned Street Fighter. So it was very interesting. So it bringing home that Akuma trophy. I'm turning around and looking at it right now because I have it.
Hey.
I have it on my I stand there, nice and polished. So it was a great event, man. Really great event. I think outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
just running the doing this, doing the podcast, coordinating and organizing with the local players throughout the season of this event, and just doing these, hearing their takes on what's going on out there in the Street Fighter metaverse, the Street Fighter 5 metaverse and community. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting hearing their takes. What was your? Did you have a? Speaking of that, did you have a favorite episode from the season one?
Yeah, I had plenty. I know I brought up a few times when we talked about it. Definitely one of my favorites was I'm more of a person that likes stories and entertaining, funny moments. So for me, I think obviously what stood out was Big Bass and um, Big Bass and Heavyweight episode. Mainly was the fact that hearing about the Augusta scene, and I remember from Dogi, he did like kind of his own podcast, information stuff like that, um, a while back, shortly when they actually reemerged, because I it was a scene I never heard about and never knew it existed. Well, I heard stories about it from even one of our own local Marvel 2 Third Strike players, and I was really mesmerized by it. And going to Augusta was amazing, and seeing this whole new just generation of players that actually existed at the same time as Atlanta, if not before. And the thing was that hearing about the Augusta scene was really interesting. 'Cause I'm actually like more of like this like the podcast mainly been about histories and stories like that. So that in particular was kind of was interesting, just to hear about the history and stuff like that. But the entertaining part, of course, the funny stories, the trash talk moments, because you only can imagine what it was like, and that's type of stuff that you don't see around anymore. So I actually kind of really like enjoy that, just listening to them. And I think also in addition, I want to say, I forgot what other one I picked, but we'll add the pork chop episode, pork chop and nice one, I believe.
Hook chopping, nice one. Yep.
Yeah, I like. No, I enjoyed it too. It was cool to hear players and stuff. Personally, I haven't know much. Like you know more about because you see them more than I do. But it was
Mm.
cool to listen to their side of things and their history of stories and their experiences, and it was like really just entertaining for me because I just like nice one talking about his experience outside of the country. You know, pork chop talking about what he's like outside of the persona of the trash talking mouth of the South, it's like that. Um, it was just really you get to know more about these people, you know, outside of their personas, And it's really interesting that plus definitely you guys did a great job to open up those type of topics and ideas and introductions and so forth. So I really like that episode as well. I mean, all the episodes uh, is great. It was kind of hard to choose for some cases, but I did like the pork chop, nice one, and the big baits and heavyweight.
For you did, yeah, for sure, man. There was definitely a lot of really great stories that were being told. Over 20 hours
Mm-hmm.
worth
Mm.
of, over 20 hours of
That's
us talking
that's a
with so
lot.
many different people. That's a lot. That's a lot of hours of talking.
That is true.
And of course, you always have your beginnings. The beginnings may be a little rough here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but over time, as things get better, you get more experience, you get more comfortable. There's less gaps between you talking and you thinking or something, or so it's really good on this doing these types of podcasts are really good for like developing social skills too as well,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, because people might not be so used to speaking like this and talking in front of like a big crowd or something like that. So just doing something like this to express your thoughts that can help out in a much major way. And you mentioned Pochop, which is interesting because he is he's a person that's been in the limelight. He's been on the platforms of a lot of the the esports content. He's a very seasoned player. He's traveled to so many different events, and there's just a lot of things that go on that you might not know about that
Right.
happens behind the scenes, like backstage and stuff that's not aired out in public. What can be a smile to some, this may be a frown in the background, right? There's
Right.
always
Right.
something that could be going on. So the fact that we were able to get his thoughts and opinions on, for I think he was the player that had like the most experience
Mm-hmm.
competing
Right.
competing wise. So the fact that he even agreed to do this was just amazing because I'm thinking, man, oh, he might be this person might be Hollywood, this person might not want to do it and stuff like that. And I realized that, yeah, you're not going to have 100% success rate on everything you ask for.
Right.
So
Right.
the fact that he agreed to it, I can't, I can't take that away. I just that just made me respect him even more, for sure, man. So once again, big shout outs to Poke Chop and Nice One, for dedicating their time.
Mm-hmm.
Big Baits, Heavyweight, just everybody that contributed to the success and growth of season one, man. We want to thank you guys so much for all that effort you put in.
Truly. Truly.
You know what I'm saying? Again, you guys didn't have to do it, but you did it. So, that just means the world to me, man. More than you would probably know, or it kind of like, dang, they they uh they making time, they're putting their time aside to do this, and I got to make sure it's a good show. And me and Retro, we try to put a great show on for you guys every time we hop onto these mics. So, once again, um, for me, let's see, season one.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back. I would have to say I had two of them. I had two
Go
episodes. I
for
think
it.
it'll be the first one we ever did, which
Yeah.
was Doggy Samus and FGC Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You know
That was.
that
Yeah.
was that was a ride. That was
Yeah.
definitely a ride because you have two different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You have two
Mm-hmm.
different personalities, two different types of people, and just coming in on the mic and just sharing their stories and giving feedback and this, that, and the third. And
Mm-hmm.
the FGC Jesus, he told us some good stories too,
Yeah.
as well, that made me laugh. So you never forget your first. So
Mm. That's
excuse me.
true.
So
True.
yeah. So that was our very first episode is one that's gonna sit with me for a while. Because that was it. That was like that episode would determine the next course of actions for the
Mm.
next direction for the entire, series. Do we
That,
do the episode and then it stops, or does it keep going? So it's like, dang, it's after the episode is over, what happens next? So
right.
the fact that we're into a year now, coming up on the year, it's always amazing. So that first episode was my favorite, and then I think the second episode, the second episode that would be my favorite would probably be the Magnegro and 4H Tim one from the Bama Boys. You
That
know what I'm
yeah, that was
saying?
a cool episode too. Definitely. Oh
Yeah,
man.
the Bama boys, man, they came in, they did their thing. I know we said that season one was all GA, but they're honorary GA, man. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, these guys have been to so many Georgia tournaments. It's not even funny. They've actually been to more tournaments than some of the people that actually live here. So yeah, I would definitely consider them GA for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, originally Bama, I think Tim moved away
Right.
from Bama now. I think Greg is still there though. Excuse me, Mag Negro's still there. And big shout outs to Mag Negro,
Yes.
qualified for Capcom Cup.
Yep.
You
I
know what
was
I'm
gonna bring
saying?
that up for sure,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
That.
We had a Capcom Cup, qualifier on our podcast. Let's go.
Hey.
Let's go. You know what I'm
Hey.
saying? I kind of want to pick his brain like during the whole process of during the final moments of his match,
Mm.
and try to figure out like, yo, how did you feel, and want to ask him a million questions, but he's probably he's humble, man. He's chill. He's excited. I'm sure to be able to represent the Midwest and compete out there at Capcom Cup. So
Yeah.
once again,
Oh man.
congratulations to Mag Negro
Proud of you, my
for
guy.
sure. Good job, man. Good job. Good job. Good job. And we also had we had the other champion too on here. Well, with 4H Tim, he won Southeast Mayhem
Yep.
first. Yeah, he was the first champ, the first Southeast Mayhem champion. So
Yeah.
we had we had some heat on this on these episodes.
Yep. I know. I know. He talked. You know, he talked down on Georgia at that time. I forgot about that episode too. He was trying to bring. So hey, where Georgia at? But it's cool.
Georgia, hey, look, hey, he said where y'all at, man. He's like y'all. He said I came through y'all backyard. I took the last hot dog or hamburger and I walked off. Y'all didn't stop me. It's your fault. It's y'all fault. But
It's cool.
he had a point, man. It's all right. It's all good. Hopefully, maybe we'll see something in
Mm.
regards to the plans for Southeast Mayhem in 2023. I hadn't seen anything though, like on social media and stuff about them doing anything in
Um,
2023.
I actually so the Mizuki, I think Mizaki. He was his name. He was originally Bumble. He's one of the guys that mainly ran the tournament. So I'm actually in contact with him. So they're pretty much still. I'm not sure they have anything planned. They wanted to have something prepared, and at one point I wanted to look into like volunteering, helping out there. But like I said, it's getting
Mm,
closer to February, so if anything, they might hopefully have something cooked up soon.
mm,
And I know like it's the holidays and all, but I
mm,
do I'm in contact with Bump or Mizuki or AKA Bumble, who he mainly ran Smash, but he probably may have seen him or worked alongside with him, with of course with the Data crew and stuff like that, y'all crew. But yeah, I'll keep up to date with him. I'll ask him and see what we get, and hopefully we'll hear for something for him soon.
okay. All right. Sounds fair enough. Like again, this is the holiday season. Originally, this episode had been planned to run around January 8th, but due to other obligations,
Hmm.
we had to move it up to here, up to now. So this is kind of like the just the filler art, the 1.5 before we get to the 2. I guess I can give a little insight on what we can look forward to on what episode 2 could be about. We're actually going to be taking a drive up to the DMV area to speak with two players from the Maryland scene
Hmm.
up there. One of them is a famed TO, runs their own series for Street Fighter Five events.
Hmm.
Another one is a very very strong player for a particular character, and that's pretty much all the insight I can give for right now. We had the date confirmed too as well for when that episode will debut. So stay tuned for that. I have updates, and Retro has updates on their social media as far as when the next episodes will be coming out. But yeah, just a little sample of what you guys can look forward to for episode 2. So yeah, let's dive into we were going over the recap about favorite episodes and things for 2022. Let's talk about Reboot, man. Let's talk about the November Reboot recap. Let's talk about that event because I think that was the same day that Reboot had his sixth birthday.
Oh, December, actually this month.
This month. It was this month, right?
Yeah, we actually didn't.
Oh
No,
my
you're good.
goodness.
You're good. No, we were. We had one in October. We skipped November because we had the Swag on Nerd stuff to alternate with. But yeah,
Right.
I know it felt like it. But the weird part, it felt like it was so long ago. It's only been that recent.
Right.
What's up,
Right.
Retro
You
World?
know,
But
that's
yeah,
because it's I don't know, maybe it's just that there just wasn't enough events, or like what, there weren't too many events going down in Georgia at the time. So, you guys, was running Reboot. That kind of was like an amazing refresher, so you got to see people you hadn't seen in a long time. And
dude,
yeah, shouts to Sir Retro for breaking character. Well, I would say breaking character. That was the true Sir Retro, because this man got hype when he seen somebody. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, what happened?" He seen what was it, Tony come through the door.
man, that was the thing is, it was a crazy. So that tournament as a whole, yeah, Tech and Tony, like the one we actually because we had a podcast episode on my 5 years of reboot podcast, and we had the guys that talk about his era when he was because he was one of the biggest Tekken players in our area. That especially one main reason that he started a lot of rivalries. Money, he was the reason why we that became the namesake of the reboot Run It, like because that's the thing he was known for. And personally too, like he was basically my first actual pupil that actually trained, you know, like from the fact literally that he never played a fighting game before,
Hmm.
and I gave him the keys to the car, and I gave him the instructions of how to drive. I gave him the whole 9 yards, and the fact that he was interested enough to take in that and start applying it, and literally and then starts surpassing so quickly in the span of months where I could not catch up with him. And to see the fact that I was able to train and teach somebody and introduce someone to the gaming scene, and then they end up becoming going beyond what we expected, and even to the point where they created an era. It was it's like never experienced it so much. Like I'll post the links to the other podcast series, but yeah, that was maybe I was super proud of because of how much I expect the influence and effort I put in, and I literally created a competitor, and that's something that I
Mm.
never experienced to actually happen. I've been tutoring. I do actually tutor like Spanish, math, and English, and of course the students do well and they pass and so forth, and to see that result of him becoming a solid player at the end and so forth. And of course, he'd been gone for a while because he'd been working and
Mm.
stuff and taking eating easy. I missed him, and I missed a lot of people that was in our scene.
Mm.
So that's why I was super excited, and I messaged him because the big thing was like, especially the crazy part how that tournament ended up coming about to be. It was I never expected it because I didn't think about him coming back. I didn't think about seeing people I haven't seen in a long time to come back. I didn't the
Mm.
fact that we had so much money and Pulp Chop and all these players and everything. Like that whole process, yeah. So I was the whole time I was like, dude, I didn't have to be drunk or I didn't have to drink. Dude, I was in my own world. I was in a happy place. I like one of the happiest content places moment. Like, man, if
You was on cloud nine,
thank you. That's the perfect. There we go. I was trying to find the term is not in my head, but yes, that was it. I was on cloud nine, and the thing is, unfortunately, I got sick in the process afterwards. But in my head, like this is like it's extremely memorable to me.
man.
The thing is because we also too we broke a record. We we even beat records and for the year we had more entries than we even had at Cherry Blossom, but by a few numbers. And it's we reached 60 players,
Mm.
and that's pretty much actually that is the biggest reboot tournament that we actually have of all time. The biggest. Um, the,
Damn.
the second biggest was 2 years ago when we had the memorial tournament for Marvel when one of our
Hmm.
players fortunately passed away. Um, and then you know, and that was of course a great celebration. We haven't seen people in a while, but this tournament was something. It meant a lot to me because I think it was just where, like I said, I actually didn't think nothing of it. It was just
Mm.
hey, because long story short, it was we're gonna run a tournament, the last tournament of the year. That's it. Big Boss DP shouts to him was like, well, I'm gonna put money in this, and this and this and this, $100 each. Okay. Check a few days later. This is like almost a month ago. Yeah. And then we saw Pork Chop's name on there, and I was like, what? Hold on, nah, that can't be real. Like he might sign up and not show up. That's all. But like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just and let people know that Pork Chop's coming, just in case. His name's in there.
Mm.
Next thing you know, Mundo, shouts to him as well. Came in as like, hey, um, I'm gonna put a bounty on this Pork Chop's head. And I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, do that. Cause I just like this was where I just let the community say, you know what, whatever you guys want to do, y'all want to make this happen. I want to put the effort towards it. And next thing you know, he put the bounty on it. Atlanta saw it. We're coming down. I spread the word to Savannah. Savannah came down, and then I put it to South Georgia. Even the people were South East Mayhem people. They were like, we'll come up there. And next thing you know, Mundo was like, you know what? I'll put even more money in this. So it jumped up to $200 for each pot, and then he put money in Super Turbo and Smash. So then Smash people saw their money getting pot bonus, and they were like, "Oh well, then we can put money in the pot bonus." And then Mundo was like, "I don't like the fact y'all guys are putting money more than I do, and I am. Y'all gonna put money into this? I'll put even more money into this." And,
Mm.
like every 2 or 3 days, it was I will put more money in this. No, hey, they put more money in than I am. No, I'll put more money into this too. No, I'll put more money into this too. Like, and I get messages. My phone blew up within 2 weeks
Mm.
before the tournament. I, I was like, that's why all the announcements you saw, I was like, I'm about to go crazy. If y'all guys, not that one of y'all guys start putting money in it, but it was just so crazy how it was building up. And I was like, this
Right.
is more than I'm handling. It felt like I almost about to run a actual major tournament. It was like feeling like running a major because it was this huge like yeah, y'all guys are used to it, with Gwinnett Broad and Data, and y'all guys, y'all been doing this for years, with Final Round. It felt like
Hmm.
a major for Reboot, like a major Reboot tournament. Like, and it was like so much, but at the same time, all the players in the state were very cooperative and very reaching out to like, hey man, we got you back. Let me know we need some help, whatever. And cause I said, hey, I need setups because we were panicking about the setups, but
Mm.
everyone was like, dude, here's the crazy part. So we had setups. We managed to scrap up like at least seven whatever setups. Now, if we had more space and had everyone put their setups out, we actually had 12 setups total. People brought up setups everywhere from the entire state.
Mm. I saw it. It was
Yeah,
some in the
yeah,
front,
you would.
and then it was like,
We never. Yeah,
mm.
it was crazy. Like, yeah, you were there, duh. Like that was the crazy. It was, and then the fact. So I was like, I was promoting like it was a major. Like I was like giving people directions where to park, where to eat, get this, get the sponsor. Like it was hectic for me, but at the same time it was overwhelming. But at the same time, it was just like I said, I was at cloud nine. It was extremely exciting,
Hmm.
and
You had a satisfying sleep that the next day, didn't you, or that night?
dude, my butt. No, the next. No, cause we talked afterwards. Cause man, my body when I laid down, cause I didn't leave till 1 o'clock in the morning. We were done at
Mm.
9, but People stayed around for a bit. We I leave till 1 o'clock in the morning. I lay down. I remember I could not. I'd wake up the next morning at 8 o'clock. A good 7 hours of sleep at least. My I remember I could look around, but my whole body could not move. Like literally, I
Yep.
could not move my body.
Yep. There it is. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the to pains
Mm.
the to pains. Cause yeah, you were running. Yeah, you guys were running around, man. I just saw y'all going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just trying to make sure everything is up and up, on the up and up, and it's coming in from the player spectator side. It was a great event, man.
Yeah.
Really, really successful event. This so happens to coincide with the bar's birthday.
Yeah.
And they
Oh
had like specials on shots and stuff, birthday
man.
cake shots. Had a couple of those.
Yeah. I think,
So it was good, man.
but yeah, if anything, this just of course I'm kind of closing out towards it. It was like to me, it was like a reunion, the fellowship, everything all happened all at once. I mean, you saw the trash talk, you saw money matches from Smash Bros. It was money all on, like before y'all guys came for the Smash Brothers tournament, the side, because it was over 20 players for Smash, and they came as far as Florida.
Florida, right? Yeah, they came up from Florida.
Yeah, and they kept throwing money in the pot. Man, that was the thing. Was it was money matches, it was trash talks, it was hype, and then it amplified when y'all guys came over because then we had, of course, with Paul being there, everybody was going to try to throw down. You saw the trash talk, you saw the fellowship hooping and hollering. I bet it was people that had seen each other for the first time. They act like they were like brothers and sisters and siblings or whatever. They were like family, and that
Hmm.
made me extremely happy. To see that fellowship, and they had drinks. The bartenders, they had a field day. They slinging drinks like back and forth. Shouts to them, but they were making a lot of money. And the thing was like, it was like a big ass party, and
Right.
it was just a reunion. Dude, that's why I nearly that's then when they gave me the gift, I nearly teared up because they gave me the Sonic game as a special
Mm.
gift. But that's why I said what I said. FGC is my family, like FGC forever, because how much of that huge combined effort of the community and seeing all that underneath one roof and just having a great time and enjoying it. Like that's my one of my ultimate goals as a tournament organizer is establish a good experience and to see the community to work together like you guys and combined so much effort that we didn't know what to do with all the setups. We didn't know what to do with all that money. We didn't know what to do with all what's going on. But we kept kept it, we held it up really well. And that it was successful all the way through. Everyone that came to us was like, dude, this is the best thing happened. This is the best thing in the year, blah blah blah. To get the praises we did from Atlanta and all over the state, and so much from beyond. That's I was at cloud nine. I was tired. Like I said, my body was didn't move by the end of the night, but it was a satisfaction at the end.
There it was. There it was, man. A whole combination of just that end of the year, December, like you said, December, only a few weeks ago, and it feels longer for some reason, but that was it, man. That was a perfect tournament to for sure to end the year. So now I gotta ask you this then, Retro. What's
Mm.
the future plans for Reboot? What's next? What's next in store? Like, where do you go from here?
Oh well, now here's the thing because that's the reboot venue's sixth birthday. Reboot itself, the fifth anniversary is next year in August. Already in my mind, I already have a plan um, for a good nice pop bonus and do some special stuff. Also, we're gonna have an overhaul for our presentation. Just have some changes in that because also too, especially with now and then the new season of our Middle Georgia tour, and some potential new sponsors featured. Oh man, I think we're gonna take it to the next level. I think we're gonna see some even more upgrades. I, like I said, I've been talking about it for a while. This year was the year of Georgia for a reason. Now next year will be the year of reboot.
Hmm.
Cause I think,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Talk to him. Talk to him. Retro. What? Why is it the year reboot? Hold on. What's going on? Talk to me.
like I said, the fifth year of
Okay.
reboot. Like I said, we're going to wrap up our season of our tournament series for the middle of Georgia by March with a cherry blossom. Um, we definitely got pretty much might be on board again with junk food arcades for the sponsorship program because we truly benefit from that for sure. Also, too, we been getting newcomers to the scene. We recently, of course, got Mundo, but now we have more people that are interested about an area, willing to come out. So there's gonna be new challengers, and then now the fact that we had the acknowledgement from Polk Chop and Atlanta and all the rest of the part of the state, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of people willing to come back and want to definitely be part of the experience. I think Reboot really going to. I think Reboot pretty much found its foundation, and I think now it's going to go up from there. We built that foundation, of the community, and I think we're going to get a new generation of players. We're going to have a lot of support from more sponsors. I think for next season as well, season two, I think there's going to be a lot of more official collaborations with more than I say just within the community. I think the official corporations and stuff. I think we're definitely have our eyes on. They have eyes on us.
Now, what's your event? It was at Cherry Blossom.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back on this one.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it
no,
was at
yeah.
Cherry Blossom. Was it the mayor? Did the mayor actually come in? The
Mm,
come to that to check it out, or was it like a city official? Because I remember somebody
oh, that
coming
was
in with a suit and they would have like a badge and they were kind of like scoping out the place a little bit,
so
but they
that.
looked like they were like at a city official or something.
So actually, I think that was actually 2 years ago. Prior, that was actually the city commissioner that came out. Because we were. So the thing was, what actually originally supposed to happen, and what technically was the result of the Chair Blossom was he was running. He actually was running for mayor. That person was running for mayor, and
What?
yeah, I met. So here, all right. Here's the crazy part: how I met him. The owner of Reboot, his girl, the one of the owners of Reboot, her parents did an open house for him, and her boyfriend told me to go there to that house and talk to him about an idea to run tournaments or something like that and make something happen on a larger scale. So I went there. The funny thing about it that happened in the process, there was a lot of free drinks, a lot of free wine. So I helped
Yeah,
myself to
and indulge.
yes. And the thing is, in the process, though, what's happening at the same time was DreamHack. Wait, was it DreamHack?
Hmm.
Atlanta was happening around that time. Cause
Okay.
yeah, either DreamHack or something, and it was in Georgia, and because one of our players went there, and so and so I ended up talking to him. Yes, a little bit intoxicated, I would say this, but I was talking to him, say, hey, I'm so and so. I run gaming tournaments here and there, you know, I'll keep it short. But yeah, and I was like, here's the video. Oh, right now, some of our guys at this tournament. This is one of the big major tournaments in Georgia. DreamHack, blah 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 blah. And he was like, oh, cool, that's really awesome, and I'd like to see more of that. And he was responsible for some of the projects in our town, and so he was running for mayor. So he ended up getting us in touch with our tourism corporation called Visit Macon, and I'm at the same time that's where I met Swag on Nerds. So that led to the combined meeting of these the tourism corporation department, the FGC, and then the esports team. That's where a lot of that then kind of like something bloomed from it. Of course, fast forwarding it because this was before the pandemic happened. He came through and he was checking on things because me and him being in contact, and I've been
Hmm.
feeding him a lot of stuff like, hey, we're running tournaments, we're doing this and this and this. So that's when they started promoting our stuff, and we've been talking about it. So he came over for that right before the pandemic happened, and that's that picture you saw. Probably he was standing over me watching me play Marvel, and he like, yeah, I like what you see. I like to hopefully establish something big for y'all. Blah blah blah. Of course, the pandemic happened, things slowed down, and fast forward, he's kind of stepped down. He's doing well though. He's still been traveling. Still try to keep in contact with him, but what's Swag on Nerds, they actually now have the network to these corporations. And with Cherry Blossom, for example, we had Edward Jones, a financial company, to sponsor us and be there in that, and then you had the Skulls people to be there. They the ones that set up that network with these companies and whatnot. So, like I said, that this is the and then also the talks about me, trying to bridge together the community corporations, and referring to FGC Jesus talk on the very first episode about the incidents and stuff, and then of course other episodes where we had talks about that relationship always been bad bridges, and bridges been burnt between the companies and parties.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I been on the verge of many times, even to now, to want to give up on that, because I know we had our fair share of ups and downs too, and then seeing what had been happening in other parts of the FGC, with that corporations and grassroots and stuff always clashing, I was determined, and to this day, to like, what, I'm gonna make this happen. It sounds like it's an impossible thing to bridge that gap and to build that bridge and fix it, and that's why next year, I'm gonna keep pushing to get eyes open from the corporation, but we can do it right. Because now, like I said, we're working with the Parks and Recreations to do tournaments with them, and then they're part of the Middle Jordan Tour. So if we can get if we can get them, you know, Park and Recreations being part of us now, then definitely that's pretty much our foot in the door. No, this is the step. Is now I'm working to step on the right foot, how to work together. Because we always had that history. The FGC doesn't like esports. The FGC doesn't like whatever. That's why I'm like, well, if these groups are not going to do it, if this community is not going to do it, Reboot's going to do it, and we're going to have have a showcase of how it can work together. So that's why I said what I said about Reboot being, it's going to be the year of Reboot, because I think we got that foot in the door now, and I think we got the hold on with the local businesses that we've been having support from, with now the Visit Making, the tourism group, now the Parks and Recreations. We're going to go nowhere but up. And we got the esports on top of that. This is the type of thing, that paradise or whatnot, the utopia that people dreamed about. I can make it work to make it happen.
Hmm. Okay. What was that? What was that venue?
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't at Reboot. You guys did a tournament at this. I remember the pictures. It was at another's place,
For
but
the
it
cherry
wasn't at
blossom.
Reboot though. Oh no, no, not Cherry Blossom. What's the name of it? It was it looked like it was actually in a different part. It doesn't look like it was in the city.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it was outside of the city, like in a
Yes.
building.
So we actually, so part of the tour though. So we one of them we did, and it was in November. It was actually like between Warren Robins and Macon on Houston Avenue. It's an area there actually was a military base. It's called Spark Macon now, because it's actually an entrepreneur group that owns that place, that building, and that's outside of the city, well, slightly outside the town. Um, so we've been working with them, and then in addition, the Parks and Recreation is also outside of the town too. Still part of Macon, but it's outside of town. So that's I think you've seen more pictures of that. So we actually been having multiple locations now for our tour, and that's pretty much what led to that building, the bridging the gap between the grassroots and corporations and companies. We started to go out to other different areas of our town or outside of our town. But yeah, south the The main area, one area is Spartan Macon, which was that military like base. The other area was actually the Parks and Recreation, South Macon Bib Recreation Center. That's the other place. So we actually have multiple locations now.
Okay. Yeah, so that was one of the venues that I was interested in
Hmm.
going to check out there because I know the parking could be a bit rough for Reboot.
Yeah.
But the fact that I saw something that there was like another option that you guys went into another venue. I wanted to go to that, but I probably had something to do that day, and I wasn't able to make it.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
yeah, yeah. So for future reference, I'll just keep that on the radar if you guys do decide to go back to that particular venue to
Hmm.
do it. But yeah, man, looks like you got looks like you have a solid foundation on what you'd like to do for the upcoming year, right? 2023 is definitely a year for big changes and big moves, all around. New beginnings, new faces, old faces. Like it's just gonna be a whole different world. It'll feel like that because I felt like we were, for at least just for our scene here, it's just been like kind of like a dry state.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not too much going on, even within our Discord was pretty dry too, as well. Our Facebook chat was pretty dry also. So it wasn't too much going on in regards to that because there weren't that many locals being ran.
Mm-hmm.
So especially within the Atlanta area. So if you wanted to compete in a Georgia tournament, you'd have to go to Reboot, or there was also 404. Speaking of which,
Right.
congratulations to the new owner
Yeah.
of Reboots. He's a Geef player. He used to go to Gwinnett Pro,
Yeah.
so
Geef.
that's pretty interesting. There, so they are now the full owner of 404 Esports. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see which direction they're going to take that venue in.
You got
Uh,
got a grappler now taking over
yeah, we
for.
gotta. Yeah, he grappled the keys. Right? He took over the keys,
Hey,
and he now has the keys to the yard. So
shout out to him
we'll
though.
see. Yeah, yeah, big shout outs, man. Really good acquisition. Hopefully he does the venue justice. So we'll see how that goes in a couple of months as far as like development.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, outside of that, there just hasn't been any tournaments here. So we'll see what happens. 2023
Mm-hmm.
again, new beginnings, new goals and stuff. So speaking of goals, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk
Go
about too
for
as
it.
well. So goals and intents. So we'll start off with the goals and intents of the podcast series for the season two
Mm-hmm.
for 2023. So sort of like a mission statement is where we'd like to get to know other players in different states and scenes to talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
Some have reached out to us. We've reached out to them. We've coordinated, and we got them on the show. We got them booked. So we're going to Maryland in a few weeks to see how things go down
Hey.
out there. And again, if you guys who are listening, you guys may be
Mm-hmm.
catching a recap. You want to try to get in on this. There is a sign up form. I don't have the form on the link to post in the chat right now, but
I got
it
you,
is.
fam.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate it. But yes, the link is definitely pinned into my archive post on my social media at Mine and Shadow Ace. And of course, you can always follow Sir Retro too as well. At Sir underscore Retro '08 if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken. Yep. So if you guys know someone who would like to represent their state scene, who competes in tournaments in their scene, we just want to talk to you. We want to talk to you. We want to see what's going on. So it's about bridging the community. Making sure the community is united, because we are in the process of transitioning over to Street Fighter Six. The road to six is like nearly here. We got about 6 months left remaining before the debut of that game, and I know it's going to be a crazy process. It's going to be a wild ride. There's going to be so many new opportunities, so many different corporations,
Yeah.
companies, players, people, everybody trying to dip their hat and dip their toes into this FGC world.
Mm-hmm.
And especially it's summertime too, when school is out.
Yep.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, it coming in June. Yeah.
Coming out in June too. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, people are gonna be on break. People are gonna be on break grinding. So it's that those first few tournaments are going to be interesting for sure, for the game. And when we were talking with a lot of the guests that we had from season one, Majority of them weren't too fond of the game, right? They weren't too keen on playing some Street Fighter Five. Maybe they competed because it was just there and it had a competitive base for the game, and they just had the legacy knowledge of just knowing how to play the game. But for the most part, it was kind of either it was bad or it was meh.
Mm.
I think only one person said that. One or two people said that the game was actually good, and I think it was Dr. Bane. He was an advocate for it. He said that the game was decent. It was good,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who the second person was.
It was
Um,
more recent. Wait. Um,
trying to think of the name.
I
Well, no, I think they said they mind they don't mind playing it. I think that's what it is. I don't think they said it was bad, but they just said they didn't mind. They didn't mind playing it. So,
mm,
but for the most part, our veterans were kind of like just chilled out on the game. And it's like, yeah, I'll just wait for Street Fighter Six to come out, and man, a lot of buzz around that, man. A lot of buzz around Street Fighter Six. I think we could dive in onto that.
yeah.
Um, but before we do so, like, what do you have any goals or intents for 2023?
Yeah. As far as the podcast goes, podcast goes, definitely, yeah, looking forward to meeting a lot of new people. Excited to hear stories, more different stories, from other parts of the country for sure. Who knows? We might even touch some. I, hey, now this is me being ambitious, but we might be going for, if not this season, the next season, it might go into international.
I think we're gonna get some high talent because I think
Mm-hmm.
people be check some certain individuals are checking out the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, Capcom employee was looking at our podcast, and I said, "What are you? No, stop playing." And
Hey,
yeah, the Capcom employee was actually checking out our podcast. So, maybe one day if you're listening to this and you want to slide into our DMs and talk to us, maybe we can get a little partnership going on. We wouldn't mind.
hey,
Wouldn't mind. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna say what? Officially sponsored by Capcom.
hey! You're laughing though.
Yeah.
You're laughing.
I'm
You
laughing right now, right? But guess what? It might actually happen,
go.
bro.
Hey, look, keep it. Hey,
Hey,
look, shout outs to
that's
y'all.
crazy.
I mean, you know what? The thing is for me, I at one sense am narrow minded, and at the same time I'm very broad in some things. I didn't even think about some type of sponsoring or any big support from that corporation company for the podcast. But you know what? Why not? I mean, the sky's the limit. We made it this far. I would love to see that type of support happen. So, shouts to you guys who are listening out there. Shouts to the people who have been sharing, our podcasts and stuff too. Definitely. So, hey, the world's listening. I. It's crazy. You wouldn't think at
Streets
this
are
point.
watching.
They definitely watching for sure. So that's hopefully one of the goals I'd like to see for next year. I said listen to stories from outside of our state. Definitely, cool. I hope you guys enjoy the our little presentation. That's gonna be upgraded too. Down the line. I hope the intro song. Shout out to Shadow Ace coming up with that idea. Shout out to Jackalman with the new podcast promo. Let's say shout out to all the people that definitely help make this together. So I think like I said, same with the reboot and same with everything else. I think everything's gonna go up from this point.
Mm,
You know,
going up. We can only go up, right?
yes indeed, my
Iron
guy.
Phoenix, Iron Phoenix, you in the chat? We can only go up, right? You can only go up because you say you gonna try to give Street Fighter Six a serious try, so you can only go up from there.
hmm
You know,
I mean,
that's it.
also no, and also side note, yeah, I'll see you back at Evo on KOF. Get that top 8, top 16 at least.
Oh, he's in there, man. He's in there.
That
He's
man,
on his way because I think they about to get what crossplay, soon. The patch for that's about
man,
to.
that gonna be fun. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. Like that's the other thing too. maybe like side off topic, like because we're in this new era now. We're in this
Mhm.
huge online era. Now we have the
Mhm.
era, like especially with Street Fighter Six. You know, the online era going to happen. I think when the new generation of players, all these games coming out now, especially next year, it's going to be a lot. I mean, I think it's going to be a good, fun era. I think the past few years with the Street Fighter Five and so forth. I think now we're in that era that corporations, companies, communities are trying to put their best foot forward, working together. I, like I said, shoot, I say even I think another goal, maybe not in the podcast, but in community. Let's say we see more leagues. Uh, I think we're gonna see some more special leagues, and of course, we had to start with the local tournaments being part of the war tours and stuff. I think we'll see more of the type of collaboration and more of that support too. I'd like to see more of that happen.
I want E League to come back. That's
Yes,
what I want.
man, going
I
up
want I
there,
want E League.
man,
PBS Studios.
that was so much fun to be there in person
Wow.
too. And
Live studio audience.
man, it was
Oh my goodness.
entertaining. Mm,
Mm-mm-mm. And they had it was yeah, it was so fun. Of course, you get the you actually walk backstage of sets of show sets,
dude,
and you get to see all how big and like how big the studio. I mean, I've never been inside, but when I went inside and was following the line, I was just awed and amazed because
man,
you was on movies. You were like on show. You saw show sets, you saw movie sets, and I'm like,
that's dope.
wow, this is what it looked like back here. Okay, live
Mm.
before studio audience when they directed everybody.
Hmm.
They even had they had pre-tournaments. They had like
The
I
amateur,
remember them having like yeah, the amateur league. They had
yeah,
stuff set outside of the building. They
yep,
had setups out there, and I think whoever won that bracket or something was able to play,
yeah.
had a chance to play and had to play on the show.
With the boss battle,
So yeah, the boss battle, and you
yeah,
won. You got a stick. You got like a E League stick or something.
yep,
Um,
yep. Oh
I think it
man,
was either Neon or KB that won
I
that won a
remember,
stick on there.
I remember that. Oh man, like
Yeah, yeah. I hope they do something like that for six though. I think that would be really good for them. If they were, especially
man.
since the game's just coming out too as well. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes, man. I think a lot of new doors will be open, for sure. So a lot of different opportunities may come knocking, and
Mm.
it'll just be up
Now,
to us to answer the door.
because do you remember? And they did it last time too. Do you remember they also did the reality TV show ish with Street Fighter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. I was like, okay, this is a thing that's happening.
That'd be actually
They did have the reality TV show for Street Fighter, and I was like, bro, what?
that'd be actually funny. No, no, you know what? I think if they improve from it, I think it'll be actually entertaining for fun. I think it'll be fun because like it will be. Oh man, that'd be actually hilarious. Uh,
I only remember like some of the people that were on. I think it was it was Low Tier God. It was
guilty. JB,
Sherry, JB, Rob TV.
Commander Jesse.
Uh, okay, yeah, Commander Jesse. I think it was someone else too
Cause it
that
was
was
like
on the show.
yeah, Tasty Steve was
A couple
there.
more.
Um, it was like what's his name? It's off a D. Not Damascus or Demarcus. Deshad or
Anchor Diaz.
no, not thinking D. It's like Deshad or something. Or Dashid or
Oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
yeah. It was
yeah,
like
I
they
remember.
had
He's like
like
a chun player. He was a chun player. Yeah.
yeah, okay, but you know, part of me kind of wish that idea still can happen. It was entertaining because like I know they pick the people that kind of like the more people type or people will like to watch. Um, if they do something like that
Mhm.
again, I think it'll be kind of fun again. And the HyperX, well, I know this wasn't in the same company or production, but the HyperX stuff where they actually had the Smash and FTC crossover, and it was at the house, and they did like Jenga in between tournaments and stuff. And that Smash players tried to play Street Fighter, and Street Fighter players tried to play on Smash. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting concept.
yeah, yeah, they did it like a couple years because like it was at one point with Punk Daigo, they had Hungry Box and Mango from Smash, and they so in between the fighting game tournaments they had a Jenga tournament. They had um dang it, not the poppers, the spinnies, the spinners and stuff like that. They had those type of events. It was entertaining, and they had like random party games, like that type of
Yep.
stuff. So that type
Yep.
of stuff I wanted to do before the pandemic. My idea was actually I wanted to do something where we rent out a cabin or a beach house, and then we stay there for like a week or so, and we stream ourselves just doing fun stuff, and then do tournaments in between. Like that was
Oh,
inspiring for me.
that sounds godlike. That sounds godlike. Yeah, like a Street Fighter house or something like that, where you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
like many challenges. He's like, if you complete this challenge, you get to keep the flag for this week or something
right,
like that,
yeah,
and prevent you from being eliminated from the show and stuff like
yeah.
that.
That'd be
That
fun.
would definitely be fun, yo. Yeah, you compete little do like a Connect Four match or something. Let's see how you guys can play Connect Four, and then somebody plays like a 2 out of 3 in Connect Four, and then the loser, the winner of it gets to keep the flag, and they don't get eliminated, something like that,
Yeah.
along those lines. Yeah, that's got like. So it's kind of what is the name of that show that reminds me of?
I know,
Kind
like
of like kind of like Hell's Kitchen.
Hell Kitchen,
Kind of like
Big
Hell's Kitchen.
Brother, stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, the one of them elimination type shows
yeah. Big
where
Brother
like
was something
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
And then the last person standing wins or something, wins it all. But yeah, man, that sounds like definitely sounds like something that'd be fun. And then you get all
excuse
those
me.
personalities to get in there and you just have a good time.
Yeah,
And they did something like that for Cross Tekken too.
yeah. I've. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, that was. Oh, I
The one
remember
with,
that.
yeah, Eris was on
Alice
there.
Valle, Nerd Josh. Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that. Oh my gosh, that was
Yeah, that
crazy.
that
That's
show was I think it was called no, it wasn't called
Cross
Cross
Assault.
Counter.
Cross Assault.
Cross Assault. Yeah, yeah, there it is.
You know,
But yeah, they had a show like yeah, if they would do something like that, I think that would be very very interesting too as well.
yeah. Like,
Like
yeah.
do like different challenges or
Mm-mm.
like you can only use dynamic controls in this match or something a little wild or loser has to eat like a spicy gummy or something
Or
like that.
spicy hot chips.
Yep, a hot chip challenge. The hot chip challenge. The announcer be all extra hype. He said, loser of this match will have to eat, and then he pulls the cover off from the box. A hot chip challenge, and everybody goes, oh, like
Man.
it'd be like, dang. So loser of this match got to eat a hot chip challenge, but that'll be yeah, that's something that'll be very interesting, man. So if they do something like that for Street Fighter 6, especially and even then,
Mm,
that something like that can bring in a lot of viewership
I think
too as well. Yeah, from like just from a casual audience perspective.
I think honestly, with the game itself, of course, I know you're gonna have other topics. The game itself is gonna bring in that type of stuff on its own because it has so many features that is partially like a party stuff on the side, a single adventure stuff on the thing. And then of course you have the
Hmm.
main meal with the online and the versus mode and so forth. I think like the game itself is really going to bring in the audience, and if Capcom amplifies it with those type of programs and ideas that we were discussing, oh man, I think it's gonna be very entertaining. I think it'll be very awesome to experience.
Oh, for sure, man. It's just a wait to see process. We'll have to. I mean, more than likely, we're getting something, good and juicy at Capcom Cup. Capcom Cup is only like a few weeks away. So it's, after I'm pretty sure, 99%, well, 100% sure that they're gonna give us something after the finals of Capcom Cup.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh
yeah, yeah. Probably reveal the last 3 characters, and give us a trailer on that, and maybe even give us another beta. Who knows? But I'm very excited for that, man. Speaking of this, and we'll actually touch more bases on that
yeah.
within episode 2 for sure, because we'll
Right.
have
Right.
two Street Fighter 5 players that'll join us for that. But we could talk about it real quick though. Is
Hmm.
Capcom Cup. It's about
Mm.
in about a few weeks. That February 12th through the 19th, that entire week of
Yeah.
so many different events that they have. They have they got like a 2 day last chance qualifier
Right.
type of deal going on. So yeah, you're gonna have to do some booking. Like if people are gonna go into it, because I already see I'm looking at the tenant signups right now, and they had 157 entrants.
Mhm.
Right there for the last chance qualifier. So the last chance qualifier apparently is going to be a 2 day event. So if you're going to
Wow.
go to, I mean that actually that entire week from the 12th through the 19th, because I'm pretty sure people, unless people are just going to compete in the last chance qualifier and then just go home, but for the most part, I hope people
Shoot.
got their they PTO and their vacation days saved up because that's going to be quite some days you're gonna have to use for that entire week
Shoot.
just to go and experience the entire event.
Well, I know that for sure. On that week, shoot, I'll be at work maybe depending on what time they start, but at least I'll be entertained for the week though. Cause wow,
Hmm.
I said normally yeah, I thought it'd be just the weekend. They going all out with this.
Yeah, the whole week, the whole entire week, they got events broken down. They got group stage formats all throughout the days. This group this group only plays to qualify and to move on and stuff
Right,
like
right,
that.
huh?
So it's going to be a very interesting format, for sure. And I think some of our locals are planning to go out there and compete in that as well. And I'm just looking at the attendees list right now, and man, these are all boss characters. All these names: Fudo, Kaba, Bonchan, Nemo, Gachikun, Problem X, Jan. Like Taquito,
Oh yeah,
like Adaigo, like all these names out here are going to be in
a
that
lot of
last chance
killers,
qualifier. That is insane.
man. A
That
lot
is
of killers,
insane.
man. It gonna be intense matches back to back to back. I know that for sure.
Ah, for sure, man. Plus everybody, and then you got everybody that qualified. They already qualified for the Cap Club Cup, so they're pretty much they're just chilling or practicing or just watching the mayhem as to see who's going to be the last entrant to sit within the Capcom Cup. But we'll dive into the Capcom Cup. We'll
Hmm.
dissect it a little bit more with our episode 2 with our Street Fighter guests. We could talk about that with them. But let's get back to what we got going on here. So as far as traveling, I mentioned traveling. Capcom Cup, of course, is in
Yes,
California. Um, do you have any traveling plans for 2023?
yes. We actually been talking about it in our area and our scene. Um, want to say what I'm guaranteed to try to go to. Guaranteed. CEO and Evo. No, I'll say CEO. I said I'm gonna I save a lot of money. Our plan. Okay, let me not see what's guaranteed. Let's planned.
Hmm.
Um, Combo Breaker. I really want to go there. I really want to go there so bad. Every time I hear about it, I see stuff about it. It's just production is just ridiculous. It's amazing. It's so much praise for it, and I definitely want to go. I know we have there's MomoCon same weekend, but I definitely want to go to Copen Breaker. CEO, I think more than likely I can definitely attend that for sure,
Hmm.
and then Evo. At least those big three. At least those big 3.
I would say for my radar here,
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone to Frosty. I would have gone to Frosty Faustin's, but um, the expenses came up and I was not able to. I had to cancel my trip for going up there. I really wanted to try to go to Frosty Faustin's. Combo Breaker is I'll have to see because depending on how my job situation plays out, if I do get employed with a new company, I'll definitely won't be able to go to Combo Breaker, but we'll see how that goes. I do want to see about traveling to an event I haven't been to yet for 2023. Now that I've gotten a situation taken care of, I think I can actually be able to travel now to that particular to one of those events I've never been,
Mm-hmm.
because I've always I've only been in the South. I've only attended Southern events,
Right.
um, and hopefully again before my FGC retirement of competing, I do would like to travel up north to compete in something up there or the West Coast. So that's just something on the back burner for right now. One of the events that I'm 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 wishing upon a star. No coach and doggy
Mm-hmm.
might give me hell for this. Was final round. Now, now hear me out. Now hear me out before we tackle this particular subject. Of course, as even the people who are listening
Mm-hmm.
might be like, "Yo, final round. What? He said final round. I haven't heard that in that name in years." Well, yeah, of course, it was one of the longest running tournament series in existence. That was my first breakout FGC major
Mm.
that I attended here in Georgia. So um, I'm mistaking. I was thinking because the only reason why I say that is recently they haven't done any FGC related content. And a lot of people just like, oh, okay, well, they just don't do tournaments anymore.
Mm.
However, they did recently. I think I did make a post about having them come back, like wanting them to come back and stuff. So they liked the post or whatever. They made a comment on it on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and that made me thinking, okay, well, I mean, if they didn't really want to do it, they wouldn't have commented on it, right, or liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I noticed a few days later they had followed me, and I'm like, bro, why did? I was like, why is follow around following me on Twitter? Well, I thought they don't do tournaments no more. What's going on? So maybe it's just me being optimistic or just like you know, holding on to false hope. But we'll see what happens in 2023. I think again, 2023 will be a breakout year for a lot of different events and companies to try something new, get something new. Of course, our branch of player database is getting a bit older. We're all in our 30s now.
Mm.
Late 20s, early 30s. We don't have the power of youth like we used to have in our early 20s. So it's going to be a new generation coming in. And we just have to lay that foundation and give that moral support on the next generation of players that are coming in. So I'm very excited to see what this new year is going to bring to us, especially for Street Fighter Six, because we're going to get a lot of new players, obviously. So I'm just curious, like who could be the next Retro? Who could be the next Shadow Ace, the next Iron Phoenix, the next FGC Chris, et cetera, et cetera. These are going to be players that are going to come in and make their stake and begin their FGC journey. So the fact that we would be a part of that before we, put down the sticks, or like, retire, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll just see. So yeah, that pretty much is kind of how I wanted to see about doing that. Final CEO is definitely
Mm-hmm.
on the
Mm-hmm.
list, or is on my list too as well, because there was supposed to be like a big Ultra Street Fighter 4 resurgence going on right now. So I think I was speaking with DJ Vest and Jaco Man, and looks like they were going to give Ultra Street Fighter 4 its own stage
Hmm.
for next year. So they get to get a bit more of the lime of the spotlight, and we'll see how things develop in regards to that. So supposed to be a big Ultra Street Fighter 4 tournament for it. And of course, I want to try to get in and see what I can do for that particular event. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as traveling plans for us on our end. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I not, I have an idea what could happen. Well, and at the same time, I'm excited for the unexpected. Like I said, um, we in this era right now where there've been talks here and there about this scene trying to do something big. especially in our state, the scene want to do something big, this scene doing something big, and everything like that. So we've been having, I've been hearing that type of talks and stuff like that. Not saying nothing has come to fruition. I don't believe it's going to happen. It's where actually quite the opposite. I think I said Georgia is going to do this transition. Like I said, especially once we get Street Fighter 6, Street Tekken 8, other games going in, especially with the online and everything like that. I think also too, you have the Savannah scene involved. Augusta scene, trying to get back on his feet. I think, and then also at the same time with the new generation of players and stuff. Um, I think a lot the environment's going to change, but it's going to be for the better. I said, who knows? We may end up getting a new combined successor to Final Round, if not Final Round making a return. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be really important, still because I think in general a lot of people won't let something like Final Round just be done and that's it. We're not going to have anything major for Georgia anymore. I think Georgia will bounce back, and I think something's going to happen that's going to be really huge. Either way, it's going to happen somewhere. It may not have to be Atlanta. Um, and I think that's where I've been thinking. Like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and of course, been talking to some people about it. Is the future of Georgia FEC because like I said, like we're in our 20s and 30s now. We're passing on the torch. Now you have Georgia has high school esports teams. Well, not exactly esports teams, esport clubs. So
Hmm.
some.
That was something that didn't exist back in my
Mhm.
when I was in schooling. So this is, yeah, the fact that they have those type of clubs now, and that just goes to show the level of development as far as how
Right.
far as video games have changed for culture. Now that now I remember video games being banned in school.
Ooh
Now they're
boy.
being accepted.
Yeah.
Now they're being taught. You get courses. They got
Yeah.
courses on them now. So it's like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think um what I also too, at times them in talks with like research and development, in various towns about investing more into the esports industry. You know, everyone kind of go where the money is, and right now the industry itself is making a lot of money. I mean, the fact you already had, NFL, NBA, MLB coaches and managers and so forth already owning these type of teams and putting money into it, you know, hey, I mean, FTC did get some, drops, few drops of it of the success and the whatever else. But I think as far as it goes, especially for here, I think it just like I said we have to work towards building that bridge between the corporations and the grassroots and the communities. And I think once that gets established the right way and a better relationship, I think once we get over that stories of we don't trust these people because they're gonna rip us off, or the culture is too raw, too savage, whatever that type of stuff. Once we get past that point and more established, man, I think it's gonna be so many opportunities, not only for fighting games. Well, I mean, more than fighting games, but not only for just do fighting game tournaments. We may be having opportunities for like careers and legit
Mhm.
stuff because there's talks for on my end from that they trying to establish relationships with these corporations, so then you go to a tournament, you might end up with an internship just because you went to a tournament. It,
Networking.
yeah. I think that's going to try to happen a bit more. Um, so that's just speaking for me. I just outside of the fun game stuff. But as far as keeping it back in the main topic at hand, I think the future of the scene. I think opportunity is going to explode, and I think where you have the new generations that have the opportunities already now presented versus what we did. Because, like I said, back in the '90s and '80s and so forth, you know, we were limited on how, games we can play or games in certain areas or whatever. Now it's like go to a church, you can have a tournament there. pastor will be a TO or end up being a TO and somehow, and next you know you have a tournament at a church. You know that type of opportunities and outreach now and support that we've been getting. You know, yeah, I think it's gonna. I think we're gonna really experience a lot of new opportunities.
Yep, and we had philosopher, talk with us last time
Right.
from
Yep. There we go.
episode one, and he was, he's an esports coach,
Yep.
so
There you go.
he deals with different colleges programs and things of that nature. And again, like we said back in those days, we didn't have those opportunities
Mm-mm.
like that. So it's the fact
Excuse me.
that these you get you're getting rewarded for basically playing video games. It's an amazing feat to see because it can branch off into so many different career paths for you too as well, just off of the strength of just networking. And this is why I always say that fighting games are just great because
Yeah.
they provide those particular opportunities. And in the beginning of the podcast, you were mentioning use the keyword. The key buzzword was nursing. You right? You said
Mm-hmm.
the word nursing, and that made me think back in when I was in my early 20s. I was working at a nursing home, and in their recreation room for the senior citizens, they had a Wii setup. They had a Wii setup, and they had the citizens do like the Wii Sports games and stuff like that. But there is a game that they had that caught me completely off guard and retro. I'm gonna ask you, what game do you think that was?
Wait, say that again.
I said, I said what? There was a game that they had in the recreation room of the senior citizens home. What game do you that caught me off guard that I didn't think they'd have? What game do you think that was?
Street Fighter.
On Wii. It was on the Wii.
Wait, Smash Brothers.
It is.
Yeah.
There it is. They had brawl. They had a brawl
See,
set up
look,
in the recreation room,
look, that's gonna be
and I
us.
said, "Are you serious?"
Look, I told you it'll be six Street or Street Fighter 20 or something, and it'll be us in the nursing home and recreation room. That's gonna happen.
Run the set.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Run the set.
history gonna repeat itself.
Run the set. Run the set. Run the set. Run the set. You took the last tapioca pudding. Oh, run the set. Run the set. Yeah. Hold on. You got an extra bingo card? Yo, run it. Run the set for your bingo card. Let's go. Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh. I was so amazed to see that they had
mm,
they had Smash
that's cool.
as a game, as one of the games to play. And um it was I think it was they had the four players, they everybody had the Wii remotes, and they were just laughing and having a good time. You saw the Mario Link, they just had like this is basically just characters, and they were just pressing buttons, and I think somebody even popped off one time. Yeah.
Oh
Pops off,
man.
and it was hyped that they won the match. So yeah, man, it's the reason I think the reason why they would have a game like that, or maybe even a fighting game in general, because fighting games, they teach you a lot of mental gymnastics, and it's very useful. Very, fighting games are really good for memory. I would say they're good for cognitive abilities development, hand-eye coordination, um, and just you develop so much just off of memory. And yeah, it does help with memory too as well, because you're memorizing button combinations, you're memorizing specific moves on how to do moves and stuff. So it's like it's just like actually doing physical exercise, right? And it just
Yeah.
again helps with concentration, your thinking, your reactions, all of that. So it's really good. Fighting games are really good to play, man, and they're very helpful. You develop. I've actually, I think with scientific data, I don't have the data on me right now, but I think if you had somebody play a fighting game or a game that requires a lot of memory input, and they're able to progress very far in the game, um, and like compare that data to something else, you would see that the game is the actually thing that helped them out. So yeah, just something. They help you develop quick reflexes and better coordination. With your focused play time, the hand eye is good. And it's just helpful for older players. So that's just something to look out for. It's for fighting games. So if you, again, like you said, it could be us in the nurse at home. You know what I'm saying? We'll say run the set. We'll be playing Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 5 in the year 2060 or something. Who knows? So
All
you,
right.
you
All
know
right.
you just never know, man. So yeah, that's pretty much how I wanted to see about, like, why I think fighting games are like really good. Just for that memory. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Let's say there's actually been because I actually was a guy. I was been one of the people that actually did studies on like gaming and how it affects people for the better. And actually, I think the one thing about fighting games is they're unique. And I think that's something for like even to when you're, like I said, we're 60 and 70. I think that type of genre, that type of game is going to be really still beneficial versus harmful. And like I said, that constant competition, depending on how it's designed and used, like it can keep your mind healthy. Because like a lot of times you compare it to fighting games to playing chess. You know, it's strategic in many ways, and it's more simplistic because in a sense because you're only one person, but so with many things with many tools. But it's
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's gonna be beneficial. I think like fighting games, I honestly don't think they're gonna die. I do not. There's no way in the world. I mean,
Oh no, no.
so
Mm-mm.
if anything, I think, like I said, with everything else going on now, even with the studies and with the other research and other situations and how gaming is being more treated over time in the culture, I think they're gonna have it where at a point where fighting games is going to be designed to help be more beneficial, be more accessible, and be more, like that's a positive thing versus, you know, as a look down upon and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna help out with the new generation and the older generation as well. So I definitely agree with you that I think it'll be a great thing. It'll be a cool thing for recreation.
I
I
think, yeah, I think the only difference is just, I guess, would be the time spent doing it, or the time spent playing it. I think that's one of the things that's kind of looked down upon.
Yeah.
People may see it as a waste of time, where they could be doing this, that, or the third. But again, it really does help with reactions and hand-eye coordination too as well.
Yes.
Anytime you do something consistent, and with repetitive motions, your body gets used to doing it.
Mm.
So the fact that just doing, because it requires muscle memory. So playing fighting games, of course, requires muscle memory. It requires inputs using your dexterity for your fingers. Again, like I said, hand-eye coordination is, of course, is key to as well. So if you take that into account and apply that to doing something that's physical,
Mm.
like maybe like weightlifting, or just like any kind of strenuous activity, that will help out. That'll help out regardless, and it also helps with critical thinking too as well, and problem solving.
Mm.
Also, and because you're able to, because you got to think. Fighting games, you're constantly thinking. Your brain is constantly moving. So it's not like you're just sitting there and
Oh yeah.
watching a movie or something. So
Because
yeah.
as I said, if anything, you technically be technically on your feet. Maybe not literally, but you do want to be on your toes when it comes to fighting games. Because like as let's say you were talking about the reactions, and the critical thinking, I can attest to it. Where I at my job, I may not do too much, but I realize like how I interact with stuff. I realize that when it comes to a problem, I think of a solution. It's more, and even as complex, I quickly can go to each part of the complex problem and quick and resolve it and like find this ultimate solution to things. And I
Mhm.
realized that much because much I do like to take breaks from fighting games a lot. Even it carries on to other I said personal decisions, decisions at work. It really changes a lot, and it changes your perspective because once you understand like how fighting games work, like even within the fundamentals of it, you start looking at life a little bit differently too. And even vice versa, once you start being patient in real life, and once you start being like more focused on certain points and this and this, when you play fighting games, it actually transcribes over to that, you know. So it's really cool to see. It actually is a two-way street. I see it more that way versus just fighting game just influencing your life.
Hmm.
So yeah, but as far as the attributes or the physical, mental attributes, yeah. Um, I mean, my mind feels sharper in some way. I never experienced it, and it'd be even you don't even think about it, and you make a impulse or make a reaction or something on a decision, and it actually be a good decision and something that and you like you knew what to do, but you don't feel control of yourself doing it. It's like a you know out of body experience.
Hmm. Yeah, that's yeah, like your mental excuse me, like your mental health of course is also a key factor too as well,
Mm.
which fighting games can help, and that's actually a good way to segue into that. We can talk about mental health and playing games too as well, because again, there's it's a lot. Well, that's actually it's a pretty loaded topic to discuss because
Mm.
there's a couple of ways we can approach this. We can approach it where having personal how would someone deal with like personal issues and being a fighting game player? How do they deal with anxiety and stress?
Mm.
How do they deal with mental fatigue?
Yeah.
It's just yeah, it's a couple of different ways we can approach this. So we'll take a look at it through the lens of someone having personal issues
Mm.
versus mental fatigue. So we'll take a look at it that way.
Yeah.
So when I say mental health, a lot of the times, well, people have different reasons for playing fighting games, whether it's being just competitive or just the joy of company. Um, it's everyone has their own reasoning for being a fighting game player.
Hmm.
But I'll give you a perfect example, like someone who maybe even just looking for an escape, or not necessarily an escape, but something that'll just maybe distract them from an ongoing issue that could be happening outside of the game.
Mm.
Fighting games are very good, like they're stress relievers, right?
Right.
They can be stress relievers. There's different ways that people can cope with stress. um, Believe it or not, fighting games is one of them. Playing fighting games is one of them. Because it takes your mind, it distracts your mind, or takes your mind away from a certain event that could be happening. You leave your troubles and your worries at the door when you arrive at the event, and when you leave, you pick it back up.
Yeah.
You pick it back up because some people just look for that escape. That escape to just to get away from the stress, get away from whatever they could be dealing with, and for that time period, that 6 or 7 hour time period that you're at an event,
Mm-hmm.
it's gone. It's gone. So how would someone deal with something like that? Like, what advice would you give someone who may be going through some issues? They still want to be competitive, but they just don't know how to do it. They don't know how to find a balance between both.
I mean, as far as someone for this has come from me, from someone who actually been in therapy in the process of doing all this stuff and competing and whatnot. If you can, because you still got your personal life on top of that with with competing. So if anything, I say first and foremost, if you can, um, if therapy don't well, I'll say one thing: therapy don't have to be for people who have mental health problems. It don't not exactly. I mean, it's highly recommended for them, but you don't have to be just them. Like you can use it if your mind is not sharp in certain ways, and you like, well, I don't think I can do this. I don't know. I'm nervous or so forth. You can use therapy. You could, basically, um, you know, find some mental exercise, write down ideas and strategies of how to practice, or think about the flow chart you always do. You write it down. It's like, okay, this will always work. It's you mentally have to think about your steps. Make a list of steps or ideas of how you want to go a strategy and play in the fighting game, or whether you're going competitive or not, or especially going competitive. Like, okay, what I want to do. Like, figure out what you're fighting for. Why why you pick that character? Why you pick this type of game? Why you pick that mechanic or that type of stuff? Because a lot of people will pick up games and go and try to go competitive, but they don't think about what they're doing. And I was one of them. And of course, in balancing with dealing with mental stuff when things are not going straight, you may not really think about what you want to do in competition. If you're not focused in real life, you're not gonna focus on the game. So if you think about writing down what you say, write down or do a therapy of a sort, or do a mental relaxation exercise of a sort, you might work on it. Either way, find a clear way to a clear idea of what you want to do. Because like I said, Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron James, many players and stuff, they're not always going to go to the play a high competitive basketball game with just, all right, I'm going to just try to shoot, pass the ball somewhere, and hope for the best. They always going to have a mental game. They always going to sit down and plan. You know, they maybe have to do some personal stuff with life and all, but then they're like, okay, now I have to focus on this. Let me write down. Let me bounce it all out. Okay, when I deal with life, I have to think about doing this. Okay, when I'm playing basketball, I got to think about doing this. What am I doing? And the first thing is like, think about what are you doing and what you want to do. Because like I said, if you're just going out swinging, without an idea and so forth, you only go so far. So and like I said, because I look at it, for me, I look at competing fighting games as, well, you can say competing with life if you want to say it. But I'll say living your life. You know, because mentally you have to deal with both. You're gonna be in both worlds. You might jump to one world from real life to fighting games, and sometimes then you have, and eventually jump back from fighting games to real life. So
Mm.
you have to think about what you're doing. You have to think about how you're living your life. You have to think about so forth. If you can't, if you're struggling with your mental, like I said, there's the therapy. There's talking to someone. There's writing down stuff. There's weighing out pros and cons, that type of thing. So, but then ultimately, you have to think about, what are you doing? What am I trying to do? Why am I doing this? Man, like I said, I'll go a little philosophical, a little deep in it. But that's the thing, because
Nah, do your thing, man.
right.
Just let the people know, man.
But this is where this is what same stuff I've been told. When I play against you guys, or I play against Coach and Dogi, and shouts to them, because they've been giving me all these advices. And but the thing is, number one question I heard from Coach in one of the episodes, and of course he asked me as well, and I keep hearing from other people. The number one question keep figuring was kept going over and over: what are you doing, or what? And then what are you trying to do? And I'm like, you know what? I never thought about that.
Oh, I remember that from that episode.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was playing against somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they broke him down, and they said they stopped it. They said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that stuck with me, because because of course when you get competitive and play and mentally you trying to get into something, sometimes you may not even think about what you're doing, and you just do. I'm a main player that does that, and sometimes I don't care. But then at times when I keep losing, or I keep getting hit or so forth, um, no, Shadow is, or no, Iron Phoenix actually got me on one point too. Shout out to him, and I said, and Coach Dogi. And what's up, Chris? What's going on? And the thing is, the number one question was, you're doing this, and then I was thinking about like, what am I doing? What do I want to do? What am I trying to doing? What am I trying to
Mm,
do? No, you apply that to your life. You're wondering what you're doing with your life, what you're doing with myself. What I'm doing, thinking about this. Am I thinking at all? You get to that point. So once you write down mental health exercise, therapy, whatever stuff, it will change. Because then it gets to the point where you start thinking about, oh, okay, well, I'm going to pick this character. I'm going to pick this game. I'm going to pick this
mm,
tool. I'm going to pick this thing. Then you start thinking about what you're doing, why and how you want to do it. And then, of course, then you practice it. Then you practice, what you want to do and
mm.
test it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, change stuff around. Change your way of thinking. In addition, change your mental game.
Mental conditioning,
Yeah, and
or like mental conditioning, right?
right,
Because if you, when you're dealing with especially other things like real life stuff, that can definitely affect your gameplay.
right.
Because you're thinking about it. You're thinking about the situation
Mm.
even while you're playing. I mean, it's happened to all of us. Like if it's everybody's have has gone through something outside of the game, and they
Right.
may have gone to an event or played in a tournament or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that particular thing they thought about that while they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody out there says that no, that never happened to me, you're lying. You're lying to yourself.
No, like
Lying to yourself, because deep in your cortex, you know good and well that that situation is on your mind and you're thinking about it. And the reason, I will say this while I'll let you get back to finish preaching, retro. The reason why I say that, for especially for
mm,
mental health, because that's a stack against what you're dealing with, and that can definitely affect your gameplay,
mm.
because a lot of times when people play fighting games, they have a set flow chart. Everybody
They
has a
do, they
set
do.
flow chart, right? They have a set flow chart, but when they play against an opponent who breaks that flow chart, who knows
Mm-hmm.
how to beat that flow chart, then they have to readjust their game plan mentally, and in a 2 out of 3, that's a short time to do that. So it's a lot that you're going through mentally to try to readjust and get it going, because everybody has a game plan until they get hit. That's
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a plan until they get hit. That's what
Right.
Mike Tyson said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that mental health comes into play, because at the end of the day, you're thinking, your mind is
Right.
constantly
You are.
moving and trying to react to certain situations, and sometimes it's like, oh, I did this, I should have did this, and I did this and this and this, and I've seen so many players just get frustrated and get so angry and upset,
Mm-hmm.
one tournament, and then the next tournament they'll be just fine, or they were just fine, before the tournament start. What happened, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of your mind shifts gears, like during tournaments.
Yeah. Because like that's the thing. I think probably what I was trying to say, and with that is that because at times we may not realize that what we're thinking, and we're thinking so much at once, and sometimes we may not think about it at all, or we think too much, and we think about certain things, or too many things. And of course, like I said, there's life distractions that can get to you. It's where sometimes it's realizing is finding that recognition, like, oh, I'm thinking about this, or I'm not thinking about, or not thinking straight, and is learning to catch that, and then kind of reorganizing your head. It's hard to do it in the mid match for sure, but it's
Mm.
but I realize that when there's like when the round is over, no, when the match is over and you about to go to the next game, character select, okay, whoo, what I was thinking, or what I was not thinking, and kind of trying to find that moment to switch. That's why even if you win, you know, sometimes going if you let that person go to character select, you have to think, you know, even but of course, especially if you're not doing well mentally, like you definitely want to go character select or something like, okay, what am I thinking about? What am I not thinking about? That type of stuff. But the thing is, if realizing like you're not focusing, you're not thinking because you worry about your job or you're worrying about your relationship, or you're worrying about your family, blah blah blah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so like that, it's finding that moment to click and say, huh, oh wait, I've been distracted. I've been thinking about whatever this and this. What can I do? Especially in the tournament, you don't have that much time to think about in between matches. You may have
Mm.
five. If on time may have more time to think about and change things mentally. Is when you're done for the match completely. You have like 5 minutes before your next match. You know, you have to take 5 minutes, go to the bathroom. Say okay, breathe for a moment, or write down something, or look at a notes reminder, something for your mental health exercise. Take a few breathers. Like okay, I'm going through this. I got a call from my mom. Blah blah blah. This not going well. Okay, you know, it's like just having it in your mind to as a reminder, like having a reminder, like okay, where you are. So, basically, a reminder, a moment to think about what you're doing or where you are you now. So, and well, yeah, and of course, and sometimes maybe not always what you're focused on. Looking at Chris chat was saying, you know, sometimes you focus on certain things and you like, what do I think about? Oh, I want to always hit this person. I want to always hit this person, but I'm keep getting hit. Ow, ouch, you cat, ouch, ouch. So, um, and it's like you really have to realize, what you're thinking about. And like, oh man, I always think about trying to throw this fireball. I always think about trying to throw this, or I'm always thinking about
Mm.
something. That's when you get like, okay, he always keep anti. They keep always anti Aaron. They always keep doing this, or they keep using this character, and so forth. What can I do? If you have that, once you get that moment to breathe, that 5 minute at least, or 30 seconds, you know, find ways to exercise your mind to reset, and then like okay, and then once it comes to game two or the next match you play against, or whatever, then you can kind of have a bit of a clean slate, because you're not going to always 100% clear your mind, maybe especially maybe in tournaments because everything is always short time, but you can do the best you can to kind of like figure out reset your mind for some moment. No, let's say that's a mental health exercise, little therapy, and then get back into it. But
Yeah, I obviously wouldn't recommend somebody to compete if they have, if the mental stack might be a little bit too high, and there may be a situation they're dealing with before the event. Like again, like you said, some bad news or just just a certain situation.
right,
I wouldn't recommend to compete.
right,
I would actually, because you want to go to an event with a clear mind. Sometimes again you go to an event just to get away from all of that, right? And
right.
maybe you won't even enter. Maybe you just want to go just to hang out
Mhm.
and just chill or just talk with the friends and stuff like that, and that's
Right,
fine too as well. But if you're planning to compete, but there's some things that are bugging you, or you're just not in the right mindset, I just would recommend not to compete.
right,
Because chances are there, somebody's playing a game, and like, what if that person decides to just talk trash to you, and that kind of just pushes you over the edge, and then like now you're responding,
right.
with violence. You may result to violence and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
it could be a whole a whole situation. So again, fighting games are sort of are sort of that carnal release, like just to get away and play, and just to leave that at the door and then pick it back up when you leave. Um, and there's also mental fatigue too, as well.
Mhm.
I said we was going to separate that, but we might as well talk about it. But mental fatigue is definitely real, for sure. It's something that can affect your performance when you're playing a fighting game. I'll give you an example. Um, some people perform better under the influence. Some people.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um,
No, I experienced that.
no comment.
No, the
No
thing is, I've seen
comment.
people who experience people who do. So, I mean, well, you go ahead, keep going, because I can.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. It's like when you're playing and you have, let's see, for example, if you like say you went to a restaurant or something, you ate something, you're all full
Yeah.
now,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of slow, you're sluggish. Yep, I guarantee you're not winning the tournament. You're not gonna win the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You either well, no, I would say win the okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not win the tournament, but maybe like just get top three or something. But like if you're eating something and you're nice and full and you're like okay, let's play. There's a chance um you might not perform as optimal as you would if you weren't full. So diet of course
Mm-hmm.
is very important when being a competitor, for sure. Because I can't recommend people to eat heavy before competing into a match. But some people do. Some people do. They'll play. They'll just chill, whatever. But for the most part, this is why you see certain top players and individuals. They may eat like an energy bar or drink some water or something like really light
Mm-hmm.
before competing in events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You won't see them having like a 5-star omelet or
Yeah.
steak and eggs and then going to compete in the bracket. It's just always something really light. Maybe then after the tournament they'll go get some like some good food, but for the most part that can affect your mental too as well because your mind is in a relaxed state and you might not be able to react
Right.
like you would, say, because you're chilling. What I'm saying? The serotonin has already been released inside your mind, and it's like you just mellowed out.
Yeah.
You're mellowed out, and you're like, bro, it's whatever, man. You can win. I'm nice and full. I'm just chilling. But if you get something light in your system, you won't have that much fatigue coming up on your mind. But go ahead, retro.
Yeah. I'm actually follow that because actually, that's what I did at Dream Hack actually. I actually made sure I ate good decent meal. I wasn't too full, but like had a little biscuit sandwich, and then I went to at Circle K, the Circle K booth. They actually had free coffee and free snacks the entire time, and they had fruits and nuts. So I ate a few of those. I felt a little energized. Wasn't too not,
Hmm.
and had a shot of coffee espresso. Just give me a little energy. I felt pumped
Hmm.
up. I got body and good to gear now. That's an exception. Because I didn't train hard enough. Two, but when I played Smash Brothers, I felt like I was playing out of my mind, and I was like, I was in the flow. I was getting that flow. I was almost entering the zone.
You were energized.
Yeah,
You were able to focus a little bit more better, a little concentrate a little bit better too.
yeah.
Yep, on the match.
It was an amazing feeling. I actually beat. I'm not sure across the upset. I made someone rage. I made someone salty at the tournament. And the thing was, in my because I was just in a moment where I was like, fist bump the person, let's go. And an example, the thing was, in my head, I was part of it was that there was a bad matchup. I'm playing the worst character in the game, one of the worst characters in the game, you know, and this is the bad matchup. And, this player is kind of pretty good. I watched him in addition to, I was keeping my eye on him, like, oh, I'll play him next. Let me watch what he does. So I was focused. Oh yeah, I think I'm sure you Iron Phoenix made people salty with Robert at Evo. I'm not sure you see the chat, but yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. That. Hey man, look.
yeah. There you go.
Here's the thing about that. What we talk about mental, right? Did
Th-
we talk about the
There
mental?
we go.
How people deal with things,
Hmm.
how people react to stuff. It's about having what I'm saying, it's to try to have a clear mind. But again, not everybody's gonna have the same mindset.
Yeah,
So this is just something that players deal with.
yeah.
With being a competitor, your reactions, the way you move,
Hmm.
all of that has to do with your mental character.
Yeah.
The mental fortitude that you'd have as a player. Like for example, if I
Hmm.
lost, the way people lose, is always an interesting concept to me because some people they'll lose, they'll
Hmm.
say okay whatever, and then just move on. with whatever. Some people will be like, okay, let me find out why I lost. Let me go back and look at the
Right.
replay footage if I can, and let me get
Hmm.
better so that way next time I play them, I'll be ready. And I won't get hit by the same mix up or flow that I did the previous set.
You know what?
Um, and some would just be like rage. Rage. I shouldn't have lost to this person. How did I lose to this person?
No, bro.
Just all out explode like a volcano, and you just sit there and like, bro, what is wrong with this man? I was like, yo, what is wrong with this
Bro,
person? It's embarrassing, man. But it's just all like everybody is just different. That's it.
like,
Everybody has a different take.
yeah, that like exactly what happened. That's it. So okay, specifically, I play Lil Mac in Smash Brothers. If anyone knows in Smash Brothers, Lil Mac is like one of the worst characters in that game, despite him having a few okay tools. The system is designed way against his favor. He's a boxer character against everyone that can move around him really well. And Pikachu was like one of the characters I played. No, the Pikachu person I played against was Pikachu. Pikachu could kill kill Little Mac with ease. I It was where part of my mentalness, and this goes also too with the idea of you were saying earlier about you know making someone salty and how to lose in the match or whatever, or or like what I did wrong and stuff like that. A lot of times, okay, I made the guy salty, and he got mad, and it seemed like an unwinnable matchup for me. But I stopped. I didn't care. Part of me didn't want to care because no, because my character is all about risk. So, but the thing is, I knew what I was up against. I knew that I had to take risks. So in my head, my idea was like, I gotta take a risk. I know this character. I know this person going to try to attack me. I got super armor. That's my strategy is abuse my super armor and punch through whatever he's going to throw at me, and that's what I'm gonna do. That was my actual mental strategy, and just let my mind just like let me go ahead and just start throwing buttons. A few times I caught myself like aimlessly throwing attacks, and I was like, no, okay, I'm getting hit too much. I I had to quickly. Thankfully, I was quick enough in my head to say, "Okay, Kirk, stop pressing buttons. Start baiting his stuff." And then I changed it where then I start abusing still the super armor, but I start moving away from his attacks, and he kept running into me, and then I eventually beat him. There are a few, so just like that. But no, what a lot of people don't understand about when the number one thing a lot of people don't do, which I always say too, and which I always record in our tournaments, the videos and watch the replays. You know, and much as you guys, and much as everyone hates to see themselves lose, to watch themselves lose, you have to look at that. You have to look at that footage.
Hmm.
That footage. That's
What they got to do? Hold on. What they got to do?
you have to watch yourself lose. You have
Oh
to.
my goodness.
I mean, it
Oh
must. It
my
hurts.
goodness.
That's the thing because, and a lot of people will admit it. No, people don't like looking at matches when they lost. They will always, post up or promote themselves whenever they do well or win, or so forth, and say, "All right, yeah." But when they lose, oh boy, you hear nothing from them. It's like I now personally, I would worry about them. I would because and I understand their mental state is like I don't like how I did. I suck. I don't like. It's not feel good. It doesn't feel good. It never feels good to lose. You want to feel good to win. You want to win. That's the ultimate idea that all the desire people want in competition, mainly in fighting games. You always want to win. You want to have it where you're standing over your character doing the victory dance and it says you win. You don't like to see that you lose, game over, you're done, get off the sticks. You don't want to hear that. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. I
Why they gotta say you lose like that? Like they put so much emphasis. You lose.
can
I'm
you,
like,
you
dang,
but
you
you,
ain't gotta say it like
but well, back in the day, of course, with the arcades, in Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that, you see your character beat up and crying, and they all bleeding out, and they're making a
that.
dark song. Like it's a frightening, dark thing. And it's like you get your ass beat, and you gotta look at yourself beat bloody and beating up your characters like I'm crying and stuff, and like he's going through a mental he or she or they going through a mental phase than you are. Like you
Hmm.
like because your character look at you like, man, you're the reason I lost. Like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't.
You say your character look at you. That's funny.
Cause no, but then because there's the other thing too that there's an argument that there are jokes about it in memes where did you lose because you picked the character or did you lose because you're not good, and that's the type of other stuff that app takes part of it too. But ultimately either way it does not feel good. So what the thing is though, if you always winning, if don't if never fail or you don't mess up, you never gonna you never understand how to learn. You never understand what it's like to pick up yourself. You never understand how to improve. That's what people don't forget about. The other side of it is that when you lose or you mess up, that means there's chance to improve. There's chance to get better, and there's chance to make progress. People don't like to focus on those steps. They like to focus on the end goal rather than the steps to the end goal. And that's part of the fighting game. That's part of the mental health game. That's still part of the whole process. Because you want to go in there, you want to sit down and play against your opponent. You just want to press buttons. All you want to say, I win. That's what ultimately you want to see at the end of the match. That character, your
You
opponent is down,
want that win.
right? But when it comes to you getting beat up, you're on the ground, your opponent standing and dancing around, and they're on the screen that says they win and you lose. Then you gonna be like, I don't like this. You're gonna feel
I,
bad. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. There is a cooldown period after you lose.
Mm.
Like you gotta give your
Right.
person
Right.
at least a good 10, 15 seconds. Like y'all gotta give them a cooldown period before try to talk to them.
Right.
That's
No.
just that's just FGC player courtesy.
Mm.
For those who listening out there, somebody loses a match, don't immediately run up to them. Give them some time.
Yeah.
Give them some time to process.
Yeah.
Some things. Because when you see that you lose, it's kind of like you kind of feel some way, like
Yeah.
your mental actually does something when that happens.
Yeah.
It does happen. I don't know the exact term for it. Um, it doesn't begin with an S. I know it doesn't begin with an S. It's not salt. Okay, it's not salt. It's just, or is it salt? Or is that one of the symptoms, the stages of being,
Mm.
having the salt rush over you because
Oh.
you like, gosh, how did I lose? There's a lot of things you think about, but I get what you're saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, no, you get it. No, because because I think also if you salty, now you'd be really salty if you react to after you lose, to how you lose, or to react to when if someone says something to you when you lose, or when you lose, you like throw the controller, or you like, damn, god damn it, I didn't like this, god, da, da, da. Man, that was stupid. You get up and leave. You punch the wall. So forth. You stomp out. You walk out. You get up. Your
Hmm.
reaction, that makes you salty. I mean, you'll be salty regardless. It's how much you can showcase it. I mean, now because and of course the classics, you hear someone drop the f bomb or say fuck whatever. You hear that controller thrown. You know that's salty. You don't have to look.
Oh man,
I
I
mean,
haven't I haven't seen a good one of those in a minute.
and that's and some it depends on the person. It can be entertaining, but at the same time, like I said, the mental health focus is that it doesn't feel good to lose. It doesn't. It never really will feel that way. No, but the thing is though, is how you take that. Is learning how to take that loss, and like I said, watching those replays. No, saying okay, I messed up. Okay, that button wasn't pressed. Okay, I wasn't thinking straight. Taking that moment, that slowdown, that cool down time, like you said, and
Hmm.
say, okay, whew, man, because you still are getting off that flow of moment. You're still getting off that. That's a lot of people don't have to understand outside of it. Outside looking in, that person's in that zone. It's like a get off the roller coaster. that wave of energy is still, you're slowing down, but wave of energy is still like rushing through, and you're like, whew, that adrenaline,
Hmm.
you have to, yeah, cause and then your mind is still not resetting, it's still not set. So, you have to like, okay, whew, all right, I got a drink of water. No, I took a walk for 5 minutes. I deep breaths in and out. Okay, man, I got my ass beat. Man, whew. Okay, I'm ready to talk. Oh, well, let me rethink my strategy. What did I do wrong? Then the reflection. So get that space. So that's the other thing too. As I said, for outside people looking in, give that person during that mental moment, stress moment, give them that space. You know, and then for those who go through that moment, you know, make sure you have that. Make sure you give yourself time for that, to that cool down time. You know, if you have to tell the TO, hey, can you give me 2 minutes to take a deep breath? Especially if you lost, you got to play again. I know that sometimes you have to rush for the tournament to go smooth, but everyone, you can't just like, yeah, think about it. The person has to cool down. So like I said, it's a
Cool down
lot.
period. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool down.
like I said, it's a lot that you have to consider as out from the outside looking in, and as well, the person, the player themselves, is to how to think about think about the process and handling mental stress and handling there we go, handling the mental stress and handling someone who is dealing with it. So
Hmm.
so once you go through all that, then it's a lot of practice. But I said for me, with therapy, with writing down stuff, mental health exercise, deep breaths type of thing, alone moments, it adds up. And then of course handling stuff outside of your fighting game with life and all, because like I said, things can happen in your life. It will affect how you play the game, and then
Hmm.
it could happen even vice versa. Because like I said, if you're not being sharp enough in fighting games, you're not focusing too much in there. It may be that you may not be end up focusing much in life either. Because a lot of times players will play and they pick characters, pick personalities and ideas, based on who they play in the game or how they play in the game or what they desire the most. Like for
Hmm.
me, I may be quiet, introverted in real life, whatever, but what I desire to be is someone with great charisma. You know, I like to do crazy stuff, and I like to intimidate people or something like that. I play G. I like that character. That character reflects what I desire to be. And so for me, I play grapplers because I like to challenge myself. I like to think about situations that, okay, I'm not given the tools that everybody else is given normally. I have to deal with certain mechanics with this character. How can I solve this problem? No, this character doesn't have. I'm a grappler. I don't have a fireball. I can't, reflect fireballs like that. I can't do that. What can I do with this character? How do I solve this problem? This complicated problem. I like to be more challenged in that sense. No, I may get enough in my real life, but I look at it in that sense too. And a lot of players at times they will pick characters and play games that reflects their desire of what they want to do.
Hmm.
So mentally, when it comes to that point, if they don't succeed well, do well with it, that's when they still have to also think about what they're doing and what they want to do. It still follows suit with like, hey, what do you want to do? What are you trying to do in this competition? What are you trying to do to your opponent? You know, well, I don't want my opponents to press buttons. I don't want to do this. Well, I want to focus that whenever I press this flowchart, the flowchart works. You know, maybe because that's how it is in life, or that's how not it is in life, and it can reflect in competition.
Have you ever thought about well, basically what you said, um, how your character is basically a representation of you. It's an extension of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about how similar the characters' personalities are to your own?
Yeah, G,
as a person.
yeah, because G became a
I've
person.
always thought that was interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, you're no. That's the thing
Yeah.
because you're right on the money. Because that's the thing. That's why I said G, because now it feels weird. And actually, I remember actually years ago when the character came out and I picked him, and I would listen to the commentators with Bates and Dogi, and they were saying that Retro is like and G are like the same person, and I was laughing at it because I was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, no, Retro's like G because he's like this, and that, and that. I'm like, and I in my head, I'm
Thought
like,
about it. He was like, "Hold up, wait a minute.
and
See,
then
he's right. The
so
character is you."
the thing was, it was crazy though, and then, like I was saying, like basically, how you pick your characters that kind of reflect your personality a bit, or what
Like
you
how you who you are. Yeah,
right.
that's I've never. I mean, I thought about that, and I because I'm thinking about it, how a lot of players like the characters they play,
Hmm.
like those characters represent them originally before. Now this is before they decide to pick a top tier. You
Right,
know what
right,
I'm saying? But like their characters that they play, those are the characters that kind of mimic them in real life a little bit.
right. Hmm.
Like like Ed, like the Ed has that the lone wolf type of personality, and that's kind of how I am in real life. I mean, I'm cool, I'm cool and calm and collected, and like mostly to myself
Hmm.
when I'm in person. And Ed is kind of like the same thing. Like with G, G is more stoic. He's more you know, I feel like G is like a TO. He's the TO or something. He has like a TO type of energy, and that immediately thought of Sir Retro. So now whenever I'm seeing somebody playing G, Sir Retro is the name that comes to my mind. I was like, this is Sir Retro. This is literally the manifestation of Sir Retro if he was a fighting game character.
That was the first character I actually picked in a while that was outside of what I usually my archetype. Like I said, because usually I play boxers and grapplers. Even before then, I played fast moving characters and beat them ups and stuff. I used to like to have characters like with movement and so forth. I feel like I felt free. I would like to after I desire to be free as a person and character with a lot of movement and can move fast in and out and stuff. I love playing those type of characters. Some reason over time, I just decided got to the idea like I want to challenge myself. I always want to be no, I want a challenge. I want to figure out problems. I love to solve problems. Gotta do that in life.
Hmm.
End up picking grapplers and boxers because, like, okay, normally they don't have those fireball tools or defensive tools that everybody else has that can really help against players with character fireballs or zoners. So that started happening, and I'm like, you know what? I like this. I like grappling because then when I grab somebody, oh man, I see the big damage dropping, and then next you know, people start changing how they approach me or how they try to beat me or how to escape from me, and they get scared, and sometimes they freeze up, and I feel I'm in control, and it's like because like once that feeling happens where I start controlling the match, and once I got close enough to you and I got what I want, like I then was like, oh no, you're in my house now. Like I've I've felt that. It's like, yeah, you have all that stuff when you want. I have less tools than you, but I can still get to you. I can still beat you. I still overcomplicate it. I still confront it and you know and beat that resolve that problem. That's how it felt. Yeah. Once I once I move around, jump around, grab you with Hugo or Zangief or get close enough to a boxer or Lil Mac, whatever. Once I get to that point where all the tools that you had in the world, I bypass that. What you gonna do now? I shut down all your options. You're in my house now. I love turning the tables. I love it.
Hmm.
I'm okay starting with a disadvantage because then it gives me a chance to work through that. It gives me a chance to appreciate the reward once I get to you. So that's
Your
how
play,
meant
you basically your play style. Yeah,
right.
that's your play style.
That's my play style. And mentally, it's a struggle because at times I'm like, dang, I can't do nothing. I can't. I wait. My defense option sucks. What can I do? It can be frustrating, but
Hmm.
once you have an idea and know what you're doing and
Hmm.
understand what you're doing, and once you understand what your opponent is doing and all that stuff, once you get that, you know, it not say it doesn't matter, but it will, like, it doesn't matter in the sense of, okay, like your mental health, your mental strength will be tightened because then you already have the understanding of what you want to do. You understand how to do it, and now it's like, okay, I'll wait for those fireballs. I'll wait for them to do this. I'll wait for them to do this. I'm gonna counter with this. I'm gonna do with this. And a lot of times, it's your opponents don't think about it because they may not be like expecting you to get close enough to them. They may expect you to think about this idea, and then their mental health game is now in trouble because yours already tightened enough because you already had an idea what to do. You already had the game plan. Is now adjusting to it to what they're doing. That's the other thing because you can have a game plan like you said before, but now you adjusting to it. You have to learn to adjust. You learn how to adapt. You have to learn to, go with many flows. Because, like I said, we have a certain mental game plan. Once it gets shut down, we either freak out, shut down ourselves, or we like, you know. So
The
it
scramble begins.
yeah. So it's like I said, it's a lot to discuss about mental health game because there's so many avenues and ways to think about it. But ultimately, like I
Hmm.
said, have an idea, practice your therapy, practice your mental health game, exercise, take a deep breaths, take a cool down moment, you know, look at plans, learn to adapt too. Because, like I said, even with life, things are going to happen that you don't expect. You're not going to
Mm.
expect. You're going to think about things you're not going to expect to think about. You're going to think about, well, you're not going to think about stuff. It'll be times where you don't end up thinking at all. You don't know what to do. It's
Hmm.
so that's the thing is learning. That's the other thing too, adapting. So
Yeah, that can be that could be a lot, man. It could be expecting the unknown, especially the unknown. Anything can happen at any moment, and just be alert.
yeah,
About your surroundings, and just be alert as a player in general. So, I think we touched on
yeah,
a good bit about the mental health topic. We talked about it for quite a bit, and I wanted to quickly touch on one other thing before we close out
yeah.
for this filler, this 1.5 here. But before I get to that topic, uh, retro, was there anything you wanted to discuss before we hit over there?
I think we pretty much covered all nooks and crannies and all the corners and the avenues and alleyways of the
We got
whole
all the
mental.
the DLC. We finished the
Yeah,
DLC.
yep.
You know what I'm
The
saying? We
whole
we, we
city
good.
of the mental health city. I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean it's a lot. I mean I
Hmm.
don't say so much about it, but yeah. But like I said, that's I always do my best to try to help train players in that sense. I always like to give advices. So if anything, you can reach out to me about that. If there's any resources I can provide for you, I'll make sure I post that too. So yeah,
All right, there it is. And if you guys, if you want to discuss or talk about that, Sir Retro, me and Sir Retro, we're both here. If you
mm-hmm.
want to reach out to us, feel free to do so. I mean, we'd be more than happy to talk and discuss some things about how to improve on mental health and just dealing with FGC life and stress in general. Sometimes talking to somebody can be the best therapy for you, and it's absolutely free. I mean, we're not going to charge anything just to hear some good words. So again, if you want to reach out, and if it's not to us, then to somebody you trust.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out, reach out to them, discuss what's on your mind, and I guarantee, trust me, I 100% guarantee you'll feel much better if you get it off your chest, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Say it with your chest, okay?
Yes.
Say it with your chest, yo. Don't bundle that up, man, because if you bundle that up, it's gonna hurt you, man. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. Because you feel like nobody may care about you or nobody cares. or you just not in the best of moods and stuff, trust me, talking to somebody helps a lot. It helps a lot. You'll feel much better. That person can give you insight on the situation, maybe even some tips on what to do and how to handle it, and that's it, man. That's pretty much it. We're a community.
Mm-hmm.
The key word in community is what? Unity.
Yep, with
You
one.
have to, yeah, we got to unite. You got to unite, man. And me and Retro, we're here for you. If you want to talk to us, come talk to us. Step into our office. But let's move on, because I didn't even think we had a chance to talk about it yet, and we'll probably touch on this a bit more
Mm-hmm.
in episode 2 when we speak with our DMV guest
Yeah.
too as well. And that was basically the aftermath of the Street Fighter 6 beta, the second beta, right? Yeah, we saved that
Ooh boy.
towards the end of the broadcast. So yeah, it was a very interesting weekend, I must say. Very interesting weekend. Loads of Street Fighter 6 beta tournaments. It had over 10K of concurrent Twitch viewers. I think it even peaked at 21K in viewership.
Mm-hmm.
So many different tournaments that were being ran that weekend, and um, it's just an example. There was the Casa Bunch. They had the pizza party. They had the Li Joe. He had hosted one, too as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one particular player in general was they went on a tear. They went on a rampage of winning or at least getting second or third place in these tournaments. Player by the name of Chris T.
Man.
Retro, are you familiar with the Chris T situation?
Well, considering with the C word, I think that's where we're gonna go to.
Oh, we're talking about that word.
Uh, uh,
Does it rhyme with rat? Does it rhyme with whack?
well, they're not drugs, but they be calling like it's drugs because woo boy. Okay, what?
They say that is whack.
Well,
So it's
what?
let's see.
But here's the sad part because I actually happen to be one of those people who did play Street Fighter Six and not the traditional way. So
Hey, so you're one of the sea heads? Oh no, not like
I
this.
had to get my hands on that game, man. It
You
was
had to get
it
the hands
it
on it.
popped up in the middle of the tournament the
Oh
of the session
gosh.
a while back after the first beta. But yeah,
Hmm.
that was that was one of the big talks. Cause yeah, when Chris T was doing
Man,
his thing and everybody
Christy
was
was cooking with Ken.
yeah, he was cooking. But that's the other C word, they said, hey,
They were protesting. They say they brought out the
they
pitchforks, the flame, the torches. They
they
were not happy. They were not happy.
they
Not
said,
happy.
how you gonna let these people with a crack, crack beta, this crack beta, to have this advantage and get in these tournaments? You know, we've been fighting to get this beta through the emails and da 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 da, da and that's not fair. Woo boy, I seen my timeline was just filled with that c word with crack beta, crackheads, crack this. It was just so much, and they were so mad
Oof.
because that's all. Then not like the
It
tour.
it. Mm-mm.
Mm,
They it's very interesting because first of all, you shouldn't have, as a TO, you already know that people were gonna have access to the cracked version of the game. I mean,
yeah.
that's kind of common sense. So by the time between the period between the first beta and the second beta, you knew people were playing that offline. Come on, bro. I mean, they had ways of playing it, training mode and stuff like that. So you knew people had access to playing that, right? So you can't fault them for having access to for being able to have access to that. And first of all, you threw a tournament for an incomplete game. The game is not finished yet. They're still making adjustments and balance changes and stuff
Right.
like that.
The,
So you throwing in so much money, $500, 2K into a pot for a beta tournament. You have no, there's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get upset because you knew the risk before entering the tournament.
yep. Here's the other thing too, because a lot of people were making this other point. I can get it, and this I get to an extent too. There is someone was arguing like this is no different because remember back in the day when fighting games will come out months or a year before the rest of the other regions get it.
Yeah,
Example, Japan was one. Can you know when Street Fighter Five was made the way the release the way it was released? You saw because when all those times when the previous versions, the previous iterations and stuff, yeah, Street Fighter, yeah, Japan had Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter, all this other Street Fighter games way before America get it. And
yep, way before US,
so
way before
by the
US.
time we have tournaments, yeah, because Tekken 7 was 2015. It didn't come out to the consoles until 2017. So imagine of all those time, yeah, years and time to practice and so forth. When it comes to a tournament, and you just got the game just came out, and you get in a tournament, but then you know that the other region had this game for 2 years prior. More than likely, naturally, you have to think that they're going to have an advantage over you because they have more knowledge about this game. They already have the frame data and details and everything written down pat. So when it came to the beta, it felt like it won't be no different. And especially if y'all guys going to run this tournament, y'all didn't say, well, those it won't. You can't do it either. You can't just say, well, those who play the beta can't enter or crack beta can't enter a tournament because the thing is, you wouldn't even know who all had the crack beta. You wouldn't even
Right?
know. They ain't gonna tell nobody.
Ain't
Well, I mean,
anybody gonna
well,
say they
technically,
played the crack beta, yeah?
well, the
They ain't
thing
gonna
is,
say that.
they did say they played it. Well, now they did say they played it, but the thing is, you don't think that not everyone who gonna show it going, well, not everyone who didn't show it, played. No, you're not gonna. Not everyone gonna tell you that they played the crap beta. That's the thing.
Hmm.
So when it came to that point, you have to have some type of understanding that when you was going to do this tournament, and you know there are gonna be people who've been playing that game after the first beta came out, and on cracked, they had all the time in the world to go through all the details and everything like that. And then when the new batch of beta came out recently, you already knew that those people with the crap beta are gonna have this advantage. They had the knowledge already, so more than likely, it's going to be a result where that player is going to more likely win. They so it's really, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's you can't really be too much mad of it because oh boy. I mean, I,
I'll
I
give you an example.
uh,
I'll give you an example. So one of the tournaments, I think it was either the Casa or the Li Joe, where um, the player who, like the players who had access to the crack, they had played first. Like they were seeded to play the first round of the tournament.
right,
So Christie wins the match. He moves on to the bracket, sends the person who also had the crack down to losers.
right.
Now, what do you think happened when that person got to losers? They tore open that losers bracket.
Yeah,
They tore through that. It was
yeah,
like a tornado. They went through 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I
yeah.
said, "Whoa, how did this person lose first round?" Right? They got all the way up to top 8. Yeah, they made top 8. I think either they got fourth or third.
Mm,
But the fact is that they went through they went through they were 2-0ing so many different players, and they had only lost to somebody who also had access to the crack, to had access to the beta. So that in my mind means to tell me that nobody ever, he wasn't the only one who had access to that
right.
particular beta.
It takes a crackhead, no crack.
Oh my god.
I mean,
No, yo. But you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying is that they had access to the resources to make it happen, and they managed to get through the bracket and like went on a streak, a tear. Like nobody was able to. I was like, dang, nobody got a game off this person, and they got all the way up to closing it out on fourth and third, and top eight. People were like say, oh man, all of these people had access to the crack beta, and this, that, and the third. You said a lot of people chirping in the background, and I'm like, you guys should have known what was going to happen. You should have known the results that somebody was going to have
yep,
this had a beta. So when they do the next one, guess what's going to happen? They're going to enter it again.
yep.
They're going to enter it
'Cause-
again. As long as you're holding tournaments for the beta, people are going to be entering, man.
you know what the funniest part about it? People was giving um links and stuff how to access the beta, the crack beta, but for the first one. So it's
So you
like,
said they were sharing the
oh,
crack. Is that
that.
what you were saying?
I mean, that's how I believe
Man.
we got ours because
Oh, that's how y'all got the crack. Okay.
yeah, because
Great.
someone on our end he ended up like getting it, and I'm like someone had to share it, and there have been talks about it on social media about sharing it. I mean, I know sometimes like
Mm.
DMs and stuff like that, but they like, yo, can I have that bait and stuff?
I
You're
heard y'all got that beta.
yeah, it was, bruh, it was rough out in
I'm
the
sorry.
streets. It was rough out in the streets, man.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's just man, that's just the nature of what's gonna happen, man. So if they do another open beta period, well actually, the first two
Mm.
beta tests, they were closed betas. They weren't open
Right,
betas.
right.
So I'm thinking there's gonna be another beta, but I think this time they'll do an open version and then they'll add more characters to it.
Yeah.
So that way, more crack can be distributed to the community. So that way it's open, so more people have access to it. So we'll see what happens when that time comes. But I definitely know that we are 100% getting something right after Capcom Cup,
Oh yeah.
for
No,
sure.
I mean the
Yeah.
way the Capcom been promoting this game, like pretty much the game feel like it's already done. Like the way it's been presented, all the details, information, constantly they throw this game out. Like the approach to how they promote this game. I mean, I think the way they're gonna do it with the game even more, is gonna be even more ridiculous. The promotion of the game will be off the charts. They
Hmm.
like I truly appreciate it because this is something that I really like to see happen. Is that and I think because of the change, the internal structure of the company really affected that. The fact that how they're now approaching, you know, the audience, how they listening to you know the community and the ideas they're presenting, and they're now teaming with this group and that group, and I'm like I have I believe they're going to do like a college tour at some point. I won't be surprised if they don't if they do that.
I
Could
can see it.
could
I can
Nintendo
see it.
then when the Smash Brothers 4 came out, I think
Mm.
Nintendo did that. They went to different colleges on campuses, and they had a little truck of the Smash Brothers, whatever, and they and Nintendo games, and people went out there and played them. Like
Mhm.
that's something that I mean, because the way that they're marketing Street Fighter 6 and the way they've been giving us details about this game and all the features and all that stuff, I
Mhm.
mean, I can really imagine that they're gonna go really hard in promoting it. Like I said, that's why I won't be surprised. If it ends up, who knows, back at ESPN again somehow, or like I said, if it comes to the ideas we're talking about with the E League and all that stuff, I won't be
Mhm.
surprised because the way they pushing it out like this, and then how they doing the beta and how the people are reacting to it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a complete opposite what they did Street Fighter 5.
Complete opposite. Like a whole different world
Mm-hmm.
compared to what they were doing for five. But I mean, during the time we have still more
Mm-hmm.
more ways to go. I think definitely we'll get a little bit more information throughout the new year. especially leading up to Capcom Cup again.
Oh yeah.
I'm very excited to talk with our DMV guests that we'll have for episode two.
Hmm.
And we'll go over a couple of topics we talked about today with them just to get their insight on how they feel about it.
Yeah.
But I definitely do appreciate you, Retro, for taking some time out throughout the week for you making this happen right here.
Yeah.
And of course, want to thank you all, in the chat and everybody else who may be listening, even on the restream or the restream of the broadcast. Thank you all for joining us today for episode 1.5 of the new season. We are trying something new. We're filling out the Google document instead of having to DM and coordinate with so many people, which was kind of a pain to do in season one. But shout outs to those who have responded promptly and in kind for that.
Hmm.
The store is, the door is still open. Just hit us up. Some said sure, some said no. Some left on read, some flaked. But again, I never expected a 100% success rate, so that's why we got to keep moving forward. But here we are on season two, and Retro again. Thank you so much for holding down the fort
Hmm.
with me. If you guys missed out on the first episode where we were speaking with Philosopher for season two, you can check it out on Reboot Retrocade Gaming's YouTube channel on that playlist for episodes. I think it's set to premiere. It normally premieres about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard
Yeah.
Time. Is that right?
Correct. So yeah, and I posted on the chat right now. So for the previous episodes of the series, you can follow the YouTube right there for the Reboot Retrocade Gaming. And yes, normally I'll have the YouTube version of the episode premiere at 12 p.m. EST the following day. So yes, definitely keep a lookout. And of course, since we were pretty much closing out, where can the good people find you on Showcase?
You guys can check me out on Twitter at Mind of Shadow Ace. On Twitch, this will be Shadow Ace SRK. I said I was going to start streaming a bit more. Outside of fighting games, I'll stream some other random stuff here and there. So if you just want to come through and say hi, feel free to do so. Depending on who comes through, I might put the mic on. More likely, I'll have the mic off, but I am there monitoring and watching. And yeah, I mean, if you want to, the main source of communication is going to be on Twitter. So if you want to, message me or anything like that, please do so there. I'll be more than happy to respond to you, and we can talk and coordinate on some things. Sir Retro, where can the good people find you at?
Almost anywhere. Basically, of course, I'm on here on Switch, Sir underscore Retro 08. Of course, I stream more than just fighting games and fighting talks and podcasts. I've been talking about the reboot, 5 years of reboot podcast series. I'm doing a separate individual um, series, just talking about the history of our scene since it's been pretty much about 5 years. And also, too, if I stream stuff like Retro Tuesdays and a few other days of the week. Of course, stuff like Chrono Trigger, which I'm currently doing, some little RPG, taking a little break from fighting games, and then various other retro games, not fighting, retro, other retro, other various retro games. Sorry, because well, for namesake. But also you can follow me on Twitter or Sir Retro 08 as well as Instagram, same game tag, and of course I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Discord. Message me, hit me up on anywhere you can find me. You're more than welcome to chat with me at any time. I'll do my best to respond. I know I'm chilling for the rest of the holidays, but yeah.
All right, there it is. Well, with that being said, do you have any announcements or anything like that you want to do before we get out of here?
I kind of should, but I don't have any at the moment.
Okay.
But I will definitely have something following New Year's for sure. We do have the confirmed dates for the rest of our tournaments. Don't have it on here yet, but I will say January 21st is our Nerds Cup tournament. Swag on Nerds. That's at the different location. And then our last reboot tournament before the finals of Cherry Blossom Easy Kai Tour is February 11th, and that's back at reboot. So we wrapping up the tour for the 15th spots via points, because the 16th spot will be filled out the last chance qualifier at our finals on March 18th to the 19th. We actually gonna have a 2 day event. So that Saturday will be the last chance qualifier tournament for the 16th spot for each game. Smash Brothers, Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7, and Good to Gear Strive. And then Sunday will be the top 16 duke it out for a good chunk of money.
All right, there it is. Well, with that being said, thank you again, Sir Retro, for dedicating your time and coordinating this with me for making this 1.5 happen for sure.
Hey,
Again, guys, please, stay up to date, stay tuned for future announcements and updates by following our social medias if you can. We'd be more than happy to appreciate that. And Sir Retro's channel is close to getting 200 followers. I'm sure we can break that. I'm sure you guys can, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you guys want to tune in and talk with us live, this is the place to do it. So I want to see Retro hit that 200 mark for sure. Right now he's very close. Just need a few more followers and we in there. But for right now, as this has been Shadow Ace, I'm at the door. You guys be safe. Happy New Year's. Happy holidays. Feliz Navidad. Be safe. You know what I'm saying? Be good to one another. And let's see what this 2023 has in store for us.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Appreciate you guys so much, and like I said, love you guys. Y'all guys make the FGC. Y'all guys are very important to me, and y'all make my life worth it. Definitely, um, even more meaningful. So yeah, I treat you guys, love you guys as my family, and of course, like I said, FGC forever. And I started saying that, and I will keep on saying that to the day that I die. So yeah, but definitely, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have this archive at 12 p.m. EST tomorrow. EST tomorrow. Yep. So yeah, but thank you so much, Shadow Ace, veteran Ed and Falk, enthusiast, and I'll say if not pro, then at least veteran, and definitely Georgia legend for sure. So thank you so much for once again the opportunity to take part of this awesome series. Looking forward to the next episode of I Got Next.
All right. Be safe, guys. Keep
Yep.
those quarters coming.
Yep.
Because guess what? I got next.
Hey.